History Month, my boy. Welcome to BHM. It's another one. Oh, we coming back. Don't worry. Woo! We're doing this for slavery, for civil rights, for Jim Crow. Hey, happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month to you. BHM.
Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, the Hip Hop Lobbyist. I appreciate y'all tapping in with your boy this evening, about 10:45, 10:41 on a good old Wednesday evening. How was your day? Hope I had a good day. Well, I'm out of my day to stream, and people have actually been coming back to the stream to say hello. And I appreciate y'all who have been here before. If it's your first time here, I am the Hip Hop Lobbyist. I'm a professional lobbyist in the state of Florida, and I like talking politics. I don't care what time of the day it is. So tonight, or earlier today, make sure my levels are right. Let me know if you could hear me. That's good. I missed the Trump press conference with the president of South Africa. I saw the name earlier. Let me not butcher it. Let me say the gentleman's name. Google it again. Cyril Ramaphosa. Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa. We're going to watch that interview today. I actually sent a link out to the homies to see if they'll get on the stream tonight. And we are going to see if they want to tap in. I may get my homie Justin. I think he said he working tonight. But I'm going to hit my dog up. Hold on, let me text him now. See if I can get some of the homies on the stream tonight. We're going to go through that. I think it's like an hour long for that press conference with the president of South Africa and President Trump. I think Elon really is gassing this to a point of making people forget about apartheid. Now, if you don't know about apartheid, go ahead and Google it, get your Googles on, learn about Nelson Mandela and what they fought about in South Africa regarding equal rights for the people, for the South Africans that were there. But Joe, how you doing? Shout out from Tampa. Welcome, man. We're in Jacksonville tonight, man. Good old Duval County. But actually, I saw that there's actually a meeting now about Trump's big, beautiful bill in the Senate Rules Committee on the House. I want to tap in with that because it is politics still, and that's what we want to kind of tap in with. Want to hear what the good old Democrats and Republicans are talking about. If you ever want to hear what they're talking about. Let me switch this over. Again, I have my stream deck. Haven't set my stream deck all the way up. I didn't expect the channel to grow to 1,500 subscribers over the course of I just checked it the other day. I'm doing my content right for my page. April 9th, we had 300 followers, subscribers. Today, we're over 1,500. I didn't expect that growth, but here's where we are. So I'm still trying to adjust to being a streamer, right? And getting the scenes. I want the DJ Academics, Castanet, XQC, how to be going between scenes, Aiden, Ross, whatever. Have that. And also, if you notice, my background's not all the way built out because we're building out the office. So, as I build this community out at the same time. Hold on, Joe. Black Lives Matter, bro. Y'all shout out Sean Pittman. Tell Sean I say what's up, man. Hold on, what Joe talking about? You work with my uncle in Tallahassee with Leslie Miller. That's what's up, Joe. Appreciate you tapping in, man. Good people, good people. Nothing negative to say on the stream about none of those good people, man. For sure. But let me get into where are we going. Yeah, let's hop in over here. And we also streaming on YouTube right now. Gonna open up Twitch and TikTok, Kick and Rumble in a bit. But let me start here. Let's see what this committee is. Voting on the
Yeas, 8 nays.
Trump's tax bill.
Not agreed to
Mr. McGovern, you recognize.
Madam Chair, when I just have another amendment to the rule, I move the committee make an order amendment number 2 offered by Representative Ghislaine, which strikes the limitation on the state and local tax deduction. But before we vote on this last amendment, I just want to recap some of what just happened here tonight. So Republicans on this committee voted against raising taxes on billionaires, voted against following a House rule that requires a 3/5 vote to raise income taxes, just in case this great, beautiful bill of theirs raises taxes on regular working people, which I think we all believe it does. But they're insulating themselves by voting by basically waiving the 3/5.
Yeah, baby, Black lives do matter, bro.
Republicans voted
All lives matter too.
Medicaid benefits.
It's all tapped in together. You feel me?
SNAP benefits for children.
Oh, tonight's is Monday.
I guess more children will have to go hungry. And they voted against an amendment to restore NIH funding for critical cancer research and other important medical research. And I think this is all shameful. So these votes basically show us where your priorities and your values are. And as I said at 1 o'clock in the morning, when you vote for this, you own it. And so with that, Madam Chair, I urge a yes vote on my amendment and urge you to call the question.
I don't think you're getting a yes vote, y'all.
Okay. You've heard the motion by Mr. McGovern. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
This is a live late night meeting, and it's not uncustomary. I'm gonna turn the committee down for a second, because they're calling a roll call vote. It's not like you're sleeping. You just ended your day, you just got off work, you tucked your kids in, you doing whatever. It's not, I guess, unlikely for committees to be happening to the wee hours of the night. Sometimes 1, 2, 3 in the morning. Not all the time. Congress, state legislatures, city commission meetings, people have different levels of government, right? Well, we have different levels of government in the country. So it's not uncommon, but it's also to a point of, I was talking to a friend earlier. This is the reason why people want you to vote, right? Because really what people ask you for, vote one time in November. And this is really for my people in the urban culture, my black culture, my Caribbeans, my people who just don't care about the system, that think government's against them. You vote one time, maybe primary November, that's asking for one vote, right? So that somebody most likely is going to be fighting for you to vote on your decisions while you're sleeping and going about your everyday. I hate to say this is kind of why people, they don't get it, because they don't really see that, oh, y'all actually working at 10:48 on a Wednesday night talking about tax plans that could probably benefit you, whether you're a wealthy person or if you're an average middle class American or whatever. And to me, the biggest thing in this Trump tax bill will be things around Medicaid, around housing, around opportunity zones. So we talked about before on the stream yesterday and the day before and other times as well. So it's some fact of, again, not spinning the block on being negative about, what this is, but at the same time being for real about what could be in this tax package for the everyday American so that you can understand. And even if you jump tax brackets, maybe you hit option trading, you pick up some real estate, $100 million somewhere you didn't know. The next thing you know, you could be a billionaire benefiting from these tax plans and policies. So at least, get it in there for what it is. But I appreciate y'all tapping in. Let me get back to the committee. Then we're going to get the big Trump in that meeting with the South African president, Mr. C. I don't know his name. I ain't going to butcher.
What is the schedule?
We will be going to the floor
You gotta do it, right?
right now.
Well, they're about to adjourn.
Rule tonight, or are we doing the rule and the bill tonight?
I am not clear, but I believe there's a chance we'll do the bill tonight.
All right.
Okay? So,
Yeah, that's awful.
Started at 1 o'clock.
without,
Yeah, that's all formality. So let's go to this White House meeting earlier and make sure all my stuff look kind of straight. I'm going to get to the chat in a second. All lives matter, don't be racist. Didn't I say that? Didn't I say that? I'm not racist, man. Come on, Justin. All lives matter. White, black, Indian, Jew, whatever you want to do. It's like, it doesn't really matter. Let's get into this. It's about an hour long. Y'all tap in. I'm taking the White House feed. Normally I do Fox News or another news feed, but I'm gonna take the official White House feed for this stream. No spin. It's coming from the White House, right?
Everyone, it's a great honor to be with the President of South Africa, President Ramaphosa, and he is a man who is certainly in some circles really respected, other circles a little bit less respected, like all of us, in all fairness, like all of us.
We all like that.
We also have a few of my friends. Ernie Els, the great golfer. He's a truly great golfer.
Hey, Ernie Els in the building.
Ghislaine, who's an other really, we call him really a great golfer too, Ernie, right? You two guys are fantastic. And we could add Gary to the group, Gary Player. What a group of golfers South Africa's had.
Yes, yes.
There must be something in the water, right? It's something good. These two guys are
It's
unbelievable.
the water set.
Gary's Gary. And David Frost, also another one that I
Yes.
know is such a great one.
Indeed.
Was he as good a putter as they say, David? He's a putter. He's a putting machine, right? But he's another one. So something very good about South African golf, and golf is still doing great in South Africa. And they have young players, I hear, coming up that are going to be very good. But it's an honor to have you here, and my friend, it's an honor to have you, one of the greatest businessmen in South Africa and long beyond. Thank you for being here. It's very, very great honor.
Kind of missed this when you only get the hot
So we're
button
going to be
piece.
discussing certain things. As you know, we have the G20 is going to South Africa. When is that going to be?
In November.
In November.
Thereafter, I hand over to you. And
Yes, we have it next
You
year.
originated the G20, so I'll hand over the baton to you,
Right.
and then you lead the G20.
We're going to have it.
Yeah.
We're going to have it the following
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So we'll be discussing many things, and some of the things you've been reading about in the papers
Yes.
and the media. And I would say that, look, the president is a truly respected man in many, many circles, and in some circles he's considered a little controversial. But we're going to be
Oh, yeah, I
discussing
think we are. That's
some
for
of the things
everybody.
that are taking place in South Africa and see if we can help. And we want to help. And we've had a long relationship with South Africa. I have, because indirectly I have so many friends that live there. I have a lot of friends. I mean, these are famous guys, but I have a lot of friends that live there that are tremendous people. And we'll be discussing that. We'll have a nice conversation. And I really appreciate that you guys came along. It really helps us in our thought process. But it is a great honor to have you, and I appreciate you called. He called. I don't know where he got my number, but I picked up. He said, "I want to
That's
come over and
hilarious.
see you." That was
Oh,
my
Trump
honor.
funny,
Thank
man.
you very much for being here.
You're most welcome.
Thank you
Most
so
welcome.
much.
Well, thank you very much for welcoming us to this reformed White House. I've been here before, and it looks really fantastic. I must congratulate you.
Thank you.
But I also thank you for allowing our delegation. This is a very mixed delegation that you've got. We've got people from government, my ministers. I've got someone from the trade union movement, who we really collaborate with, and from business as well, and our sporting legends. When I spoke to you, you said, yes, come along and bring Gary Player, bring Ernie Els and Retief Goosen. I brought the two of them. Gary Player, I spoke to him, and he said, look, I'm getting rather on in my years, but wishes us luck in this discussion with you. So it's a real joy. And I'd also like to thank you for allowing your people to start discussions with us at the trade level. I mean, we are essentially here to reset the relationship between the United States and South Africa. We are long-standing partners in many, many ways. We've collaborated in many fields, in space issues, in energy, and in trade, and we therefore need to reset it, particularly in the light of some of the announcements that you made on trade and investment. So we want to advance more trade between the two of us.
Oh, let me check the comments. My bad.
Now have been empowered
Hey, Nina.
by yourself and by myself.
Gorilla, what's going on, man?
And we hope that we will be able to fuel that engagement during our talks. And we also want to discuss issues that have to do with how we promote.
Hold on, Gorilla. What I meant was, At least it's not the media. We're watching it live. It could be like, you know how the commentators coming in like I'm interrupting now. I just, you know, the stream would be direct, so it's not like I've looked at some streams where I'm feeding in, of course, and it's like a conservative stream or a liberal stream, and they're sharing their viewpoints, attacking Trump, defending Trump, whatever. Let's just get it straight here for what it is outside of the spin. That's kind of what I meant. So it's not a tag of CNN, Forbes, anybody else. Well, let's get back to it. I appreciate you. And the comments. I'm going to try to load the comments up so I can get back to them. I'm not scared of the chat. Appreciate y'all tapping in, though.
Further investments in both countries. We've got about 22 companies
Barry, hey,
from South Africa
Mayoral.
invested in the US, thus creating a number of jobs.
Random guy, hey, man.
You've got almost 600 companies that have invested in South Africa, and some of them have been in South Africa for more than 100 years. That's true. So our links are really long-lasting, and we would like to recalibrate those relations between our two countries and discuss a whole range of issues, geopolitical, the work that you're doing to bring peace around the world, in Ukraine and in the Middle East. So we value that, and we are also a great contributor to peace processes
Hey, Diane.
around the world. And of course, we
How you
want
doing
to
tonight?
discuss how we can support each other. You are a much bigger economy.
Hey, Laura.
We are. We're just a tiny economy, but we rely on each other on a number of issues. We've got critical minerals that you want to fuel the growth of your own economy and reindustrialize. So we have that on offer.
I don't know why my chat's not updating. I mean,
So all that combination of opportunity and
Chat's not updating on the
products
vertical.
we buy from you, as well as what we sell to you, I believe makes up a really good and powerful relationship, which we need to strengthen, which we need to engender, and that is really what has brought us here. And we are really privileged to have, great South Africans in the mix. As you said, you'd like to see them as well. And I brought you a really fantastic golf book. Weighs 14 kilograms.
oh well.
And it showcases the golf courses in our country. Johan Rupert wrote preface, so did Ernie Els, and I want to showcase our golf courses. You might remember when I spoke to you, and we spoke about golf, you said I should start practicing. And I've started practicing, President, so I'm ready. But let me end just the introductory remarks by thanking you. You may not recall that 5 years ago I spoke to you during the COVID period. Right. And it was at a time when the whole world was going through a really cathartic moment. Right. And we asked for assistance, and you were able to assist us with respirators, and you kept to your word, and you delivered respirators to us. We didn't have as many in our country, and it really helped to help us deal with COVID. So I'm here also to say thank you, and to thank the people of America for having helped us during a really difficult time. Being the small economy that we are, we needed help from around the world. And you were there to provide that. So thank you very much.
I remember the call.
Yeah.
We sent 150 respirators. We became the respirator king. We started making them. Nobody had them. We had very few of them.
That's right.
But they were very helpful. But we sent 150, and I appreciated the letter. You wrote me a letter. And
That's right. Yeah.
I appreciate that very much.
Thank you very much for that. It really touched my heart after I spoke to you, and you delivered.
It's a great honor.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah.
Any questions?
Mr. President, we welcome white Afrikaner refugees here. Can you explain to Americans why it's appropriate to welcome white Afrikaners here when other refugees
Listen. I ain't know that came out the gates like that. Now I know that this could be a setup. Why the press coming out so hard to start? See, that's what I mean, the spin, man. Like, mind you, Trump been going at Africans, saying the last administration let African immigrants in. I said this the other day. But they also letting Africans in. He doing the same thing. They just white. And I think it's the trail of, you say, oh, they let Africans in, and you always talk about the prisoners in the Congo are released. And all of a sudden, supposedly these white farmers are being attacked and degraded, and genocide is happening there. Supposedly. I don't know all the facts. They don't tell all the facts. And this is what we get. And I think, honestly, Elon put a battery in the president's back to spin the narrative on this. Because in one attack, you're saying, oh, it's Biden's fault that all these African immigrants are here. And the next breath, you're flying African immigrants in. And the thing is, to my Republicans out there, to be real, MAGA supporters, Trumpers, the issue is that we don't want immigrants coming here and taking advantage of our systems, living off our tax dollars, everything else like that, right? What are these white African, South African farmers bringing here? What do they already have here? If they already haven't invested here, don't have real estate, are we giving our tax money away to them so they can, what are we talking about? It's like Syrian refugees again. But they're not refugees. They're willingly coming here through the president. Let's get back to it.
Afghans, Venezuelans, Haitians have all had their protective status revoked.
Well,
And you see your boy Elon over there. So it's almost like I'm coming to get either my people or my country back. And it's like, bro, I'm going to call my homeboy to bring it in, bro. This is, why is Elon leaving? I thought Elon was leaving. You got Vice President Vance and Vice President Musk. But Musk not said, just he shouldn't even be there. Wearing all black.
this is a group, NBC, that is truly fake news. They ask a lot of questions in a very pointed way. They're not questions, they're statements.
Yeah.
We've had tremendous complaints about Africa, about other countries too, from people. They say there's a lot of bad things going on.
Hey, Rosie.
And that's what we're going to be discussing today.
Hey, just saying, who, me? I'm race baiting? Me? Never.
We let 21 million people come through our border, totally unchecked, totally unvetted. They came from all over the world. In many cases, they're criminals. They come from prisons. They come from mental institutions. They come from street gangs. They're drug dealers. So don't say that we didn't take them. We're trying to get them out as fast as we can. And we're doing record business on that. And we just won a big case where we're allowed to send back hundreds of criminals to Venezuela. Just won that today in the Supreme Court.
Raheem, Mike,
But
hey,
we
man.
do have a lot of people are very concerned with regard to South Africa, and that's really the purpose of the meeting, and we'll see how that turns out. But we have many people that feel they're being persecuted, and they're coming
What's the
to
bullshit,
the United
Charles?
States. So we take from many locations if we feel there's persecution or genocide going on. And we had a lot of people. I must tell you, Mr. President, we have had a tremendous number of people, especially since they've seen this. Generally, they're white farmers, and they're fleeing South Africa, and it's a very sad thing to see. But I hope we can have an explanation of that, because I know you don't.
I'm watching Elon's face for real.
And it's a kind of a different meeting. Normally we have meetings, we talk about trade, and we'll be talking
They
about
didn't send
trade
only their
and
criminals. That's what I'm saying.
that certainly will be a subject that comes.
I totally agree with you. I don't believe, and the thing is, a lot of people don't know that Africa, the continent of Africa, has 56 countries. Egypt is in Africa. Morocco's in Africa. All these places. But when you just say Congo and Nigeria, you're painting this picture. The people in Alabama, the people in Mississippi, the people in Arkansas, Utah. That's the picture you're painting. So when you're just saying that, but we know that every African who came over wasn't a criminal, because I know, being a first generation American and having family that's been deported and friends that have been deported, a lot of people don't want to get deported from America, because you get deported from America, you can't go to any other country. So imagine that. You're from Ghana, you're from Congo, you're from South Africa, you're from Jamaica, Haiti. You get deported from America. You can't go to London. You can't go to Australia. You can't go anywhere. That's the thing. So when people get deported from America, they can't go to any other country. They have to stay in their home country forever. Maybe some others. But that's the facts. Let's get back to it.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah,
Brian?
Thank you very much. I'd like to get your thoughts on Letitia James. Director Polte, according to him, Letitia James says that the alleged mortgage fraud was simply a mistake. I want to get your thoughts on that. She put down that her
Egypt is in
father
Africa.
was her husband in order, and this is very similar to, I guess, the false attacks they had on you.
Well, I don't know what it is currently, but Letitia James, who's the Attorney General of New York State, it seemed, I'm not involved in that at all. I know that it's being handled by various groups, I guess, but it's major fraud, mortgage documents, and fraud.
Phone died on me.
I think she said the father was her husband, which she had to have a husband, or so she chose her father, and she put it down, and she had didn't she sign in Virginia, yet she said she lived in Virginia, yet she's the New York State Attorney General, and she did that for tax reasons, so she could take advantage of taxes. And she had the wrong number of units. She had a much different number, which wouldn't have allowed her to qualify and scam the government. So I don't know. I think she's very bad for New York, but I really don't know too much about it, but I appreciate the question. Thank you very much. Yes.
Mr. President, what's the benefit for you to be convinced that there's no genocide?
Thank you.
Hey, Johnny 5.
So May 25th will be the celebration of Africa Day, which pretty much a lot of celebration will be taking place around the world, including here in the United States. What is your message to the entire African continent, African people in this important occasion?
Well, I want to see peace, and I want to see happiness. I want to see health, and you have incredible land. There's tremendous value. A lot of countries don't have that value in the land. The value you have,
Country is a continent. That's the difference. You see, even the president of the United States needs to understand the difference. Africa is a continent, not a country. And I think that a lot of people, like I saw in the comments, somebody didn't know Egypt was in Africa. They claim it for the Middle East. But it's kind of like claiming Florida and Georgia are separate, but they're on the same continent. They're in the same United States, right? It's all the same. It's kind of confusing. I get why it's confusing, because I guess in American history they only teach you Africa, and then by the time you realize other countries are there, it's whatever. But to the main point about Egypt, it's like, I guess it's because it's so close to the Middle East. They claim it as the Middle East or Asia, but it lies on the continent of Africa, like Morocco. So it doesn't make sense. But yeah, Africa's not a country, it's a continent. And that mindset needs to change, because when people are thinking Africa, don't just think this. Because half the people on the African continent probably aren't as dark skinned as the people from the Congolese or Nigeria. Look at folks from Morocco, or again, Egypt, or even South Africans.
We have a situation, I think you probably heard about it. We've done, through some very talented people, helped settle a war that's been raging for years, Rwanda.
Exactly, Johnny 5.
And I think we've done it. Believe it or not, I think we've done it. And could you just say a few words about that, my friend?
Yes. A couple of weeks ago, the two parties signed a declaration of principles in which they've agreed on the way forward. And they have both submitted draft peace agreements. And we have put together one that incorporates both of their suggestions, and we've given it to them. So
hey, Johnny 5, I'm good today, brother.
Looking very good.
We have to thank you for even those efforts, because the African continent, particularly SADC, our Southern African Development Community, has for years been seeking to foster peace in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
That's right.
So all efforts, including those from outside the continent and inside the continent, are really worthwhile. We are removing our troops from there so that peace can then prevail in that whole area. And we hope that with the support of the international community, we will really have peace in that area. It's so vital, it's so important.
Some people aren't even paying attention to the war in the Congo, to be honest. Now, some people may say, I have my iPhone here, that the war in the Congo is happening because the materials that we need in our technology. Now, I'm not saying Apple is behind the war. I'm not saying that, but I believe the natural minerals and natural stuff that they need to make these lithium batteries and all these other things are in Congo, and that's what they say is the cause of the war. So they're not even going after blood diamonds anymore. They're going back to the minerals. So they're going back to like 1400. And if you've never been to DC to see the African American History Museum, the Smithsonian, I would say make sure you take a trip next time you go. And if you go during Black History Month in February, it's free. You probably didn't know that. Or check this out. If you reach out to your member of Congress and tell them, hey, I'm coming to DC, reach out to your member, and they should most likely do it. If you're going to reach out to your member, don't email them directly. Email like the district scheduler, the district staffer, because they're one of the 10 people they'll meet with on a weekly, daily basis to actually understand requests and get things done. That's a little game for you. But if anything, if it's your first time here, quickly, I am the hip hop lobbyist, professional lobbyist in the state of Florida. I've been in politics for 15 years, but I never wanted to be it. Never wanted to do this. Never ran for SGA president. Never put my name on the ballot, like just to do it. I fell in politics because I was fired from my day job my last semester at the Florida A&M University, the university that Governor Ron DeSantis just appointed a new president to, and had its whole rather nation in a tailspin. But guess what? They helped grow and monetize this channel. Again, if you just got here, April 6th, we only had 300 subs. Then I started live streaming. And guess what? We're up to 1,500. And you're one of the few people out of roughly 500,000 people who've seen the stream so far that have decided to take some time and spend it with your boy. So I'm going to stop talking and get back into this because we'll probably be here till about 2, 3 in the morning tonight. Either way, thank you for tapping in with your boy. Let's get back to this interview press conference because I know it's had some fireworks later because social media's already said there's been some fireworks from this meeting. So let's get back to it and we can get to the Diddy trial later.
The whole region.
Well, we sent our people there, and I think we did a very good job. I sat in by my friend, and that was great. That was great. I mean, I'm just hearing phenomenal reports because all I'm hearing is death, and they're chopping heads off, and it's horrible over there. And it was really brave of you to go.
There we're watching the South African president and President Trump meeting in the White House earlier today.
We also talked about trade with them in terms of rare earth and all, but really more for it's like if you take a look at what we just did with Pakistan and India, we settled that whole thing, and I think I settled it through trade. We're doing a big deal with India, we're doing a big deal with Pakistan, and I said, what are you guys doing? You know, somebody had to be the last one to shoot. But the shooting was getting worse and worse, bigger and bigger, deeper and deeper into the countries. And we spoke to them, and I think we, I hate to say we got it settled, and then 2 days later, something happens, and they say it's Trump's fault. But Pakistan has got some excellent people and some really good, a great leader. And India is my friend, Modi. And he's a
mutual friend.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And I called them both, and we just did something good. We're trying to settle Russia, Ukraine. We spoke with President Putin for 2.5 hours the day before yesterday. I think we made a lot of progress, but that's a bloodbath. 5,000 people are being killed a week. 5,000 soldiers a week.
No, I'll get to it later on the stream. But I've heard that Trump's told the European leaders that Putin isn't ready to end the war. So we'll see how this peace deal goes, because I think that he committed to not sending any more guns and money and stuff and cash to Ukraine to help him fight this war, but he also realized it's a losing war. And y'all remember the Zelensky blow up, and somebody did say that this is about to be like Zelensky 2.0, and I can see by the amount of Elon Musks that are standing around, this is about to turn up soon. So we got about another 40 minutes here. So let's get back to it.
In cities and towns that are also being killed. So we're trying to help. And it doesn't affect us. It's not our people. It's not our soldiers. It's Ukraine and it's Russia. But if we can save 5,000 souls, we'll do it. We're pretty good at it. But that's a bad situation. That is a really bad situation.
Well, you'd recall when President Zelensky was coming to South Africa, that's when I spoke to you.
That's right.
We both agreed that we need to push the peace message so that there can really be peace. And we've been involved in the Ukraine-Russia conflict for quite a while through my minister, state security here. We've been dealing with them, the exchange of children who were taken away, going through names and addresses and all that. So we've been invested in that whole process as well. And the moves that you are making are fully supported by us because we would like to see the end of that war.
True. I called Zelensky, and they said, he's in South Africa. I said, what the hell is he doing in South Africa?
He was talking to us.
We got this thing. I said, that's a strange one. I said, what are you doing in South Africa?
Yes.
That's a strange one.
He's trying to make peace. We're taking him. You know, we were lucky because we had the great Nelson Mandela who taught us how to create peace, to make peace. So we were imparting some of those lessons to him, some of those learnings, and I specifically mentioned to him that this is how Nelson Mandela taught us, that when you want to have a peace in a country, do it on an unconditional basis and sit down and talk. And that's precisely what I'm sure he's going to heed.
Well, we'll see what happens with that one. It's there's a lot of hatred.
Yeah.
There's a lot of death. It's a bloodbath.
It is.
I get the,
unfortunately.
I get the satellite pictures of that field, of that killing field. Mm-hmm. You never saw anything like it in your life. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing that goes on, but I think we've made big progress. Yeah, please go ahead.
Hey, man,
No, not you. Right here. He's from South Africa. Go ahead, please.
What are you expecting on the ICJ case? Are you expecting South Africa to drop that? Is that what you're trying to reason?
On which case?
The ICJ case against Israel, International Criminal Court.
I don't expect anything, to be honest. I really don't. I don't know. It's, they've got a case. There's a lot of anger there, tremendous anger. I don't expect anything. We'll see what happens. We'll have a ruling, and who knows what the ruling is going to mean. Yeah.
On that subject of Gaza, Mr. President, are you going to be speaking to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Israel's renewed offensive there? There's been a lot of concern from European countries. The Pope has expressed concern. Are you going to be asking Prime Minister Netanyahu to tone down the offensive in Gaza to let more aid in?
Was that a question or a statement?
It's a question.
This guy's, you never change.
Mr. President, decide what will it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well,
here we go.
It's for him.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer. It will be.
My president will respond to you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans.
Look at Elon's face. Elon ain't trying to hear none of that. Everybody else looking to the side, even Brody over here, he could be looking at him like, hey, this is what we came for, but nah. Elon's ready. Elon's locked. He fucking.
Some of whom
Look at him.
are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us or around the quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it will take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have,
Hold on.
We have thousands of stories talking about it.
Sure.
And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that. Is Natalie here? Somebody here to turn that? I could show
here
you
we
a couple
go.
of things, and I would.
I think everybody tapping in on TikTok and Twitch. We just went live on TikTok and Twitch, about to roll out on one
Let me see
as
the
well.
articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down. Turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind
shit.
you.
My bad, y'all. It really does give old school school vibes.
People are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. Yeah. South Africa, occupy land.
I'm still watching Elon's face. Elon like half smiling. Everybody else kind of like, okay, what are we watching?
We are. Honorable members, can withdraw my membership from this useless parliament?
Oh, my bad. On the road, y'all couldn't see Elon over here. My bad, y'all.
Be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act. Shoot to kill. Yamasa. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer.
I gotta stop for a second. The same video that they've been pushing on Twitter X the whole time. I'm not saying it's real. I'm not saying it's fake. But this doesn't look like it's an Elon battery in the back of Trump. Come on, man. Like, come on, bro. I'm not saying. I kind of agree with the South African president. Why would Gary Player and Ernie Els, who else is there? Why would they come with the president? They killing white farmers. Maybe it's just a narrative Elon want to spin, you know, just to feel a victim. They call it black fatigue. Maybe this is South African fatigue, white South African fatigue, African fatigue.
So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man.
I'm not gonna hold you. I've seen this video before that they're showing. I thought he was a president. No lie. I thought this buddy that was speaking was the president of South Africa this whole time. He's not even the president. He's just probably an activist. So we can't even really take what he's saying for real, bro. I gotta go check Al Jazeera and some other international news. Let me check the chat. Y'all chatting it up over here.
Because Mashaba and Soli will not be touched. They will be touched. Don't worry. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness. It's shoot to kill. Yamasa. Kill the poor. The farmer.
Now, if the South African president was out there for this, it would be over, bro. It would be big over.
Shoot to kill. Yamasa. Kill the poor. The farmer. Kill the poor. The farmer.
I'm saying you was not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future. Yeah, but I mean, you'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocidal
Let me ask the chat. Do y'all think the genocide is really happening in South Africa?
Will expropriate land without compensation.
Let me ask the chat, man.
Like it or not, if they object, they can seek refugee in America.
Now I'm not that versed on this issue.
This is very bad. These are burial sites right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who's killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it.
This is my first time seeing this, y'all, to be real. I'm gonna check the chat once we get through this software phase. Read the chat before we go to the Diddy trial.
All killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is, because this I've never seen.
You heard the president of his own country saying this is a site he's never seen. He wants to know where it is in the country. So I'm not saying it's doctored. I'm not saying it's fake. In the world and day of AI, I don't know. But it's a lot going on. I don't support genocide of any kind, whether it's Palestine and Gaza and Israel or the Congo or apartheid in South Africa. I don't support it. Any kind of genocide. Rwanda, I'm not supporting it. At least get some transparency, because there's not, even if this is happening, then there needs to at least be a reckoning. However, again, I do feel that when you're just saying immigrants from Africa are coming from the Biden administration and they're African immigrants coming in, like, we need to clarify, because maybe I'm just naive. I don't know anywhere in the world where black people can kill and genocide a whole lot of white folks, and France, Europe, everybody not sending troops in to come protect those people. Maybe I'm just naive in my thoughts for the moment, but let's get back to the video.
Okay. I mean, it's in South Africa.
We need to find out.
I'm not denying it. I just haven't heard it. I don't think I'm biased. I haven't heard it. That's it. That's honestly it. Outside of Trump and Elon, where else are you hearing about the genocide? You'll hear more about Israel. You'll hear about Libya. You'll hear about Syria. You'll hear about Congo. Maybe I just need to get more news features, Al Jazeera. But I get it. Everybody's not going to be happy with the decision, but I'm learning just like some of y'all are. But let's go, man. Get back to the rest of this. I ain't judging.
The Pentagon announced that it would be accepting a Qatari jet to be used as Air Force One, perhaps.
What are you talking about?
Can we have a South African question, please? Mr. President,
the Pentagon's going first.
What does this have to do with the Qatari jet? They're giving the United States Air Force a jet, okay? And it's a great thing. We're talking about a lot of other things. It's NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are a real, you're a terrible reporter. Number one, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. But for you to go onto a subject about a jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which is a very nice thing, they also gave $5.1 trillion worth of investment in addition to the jet. Go back, you ought to go back to your studio at NBC, because Brian Roberts and the people that run that place, they ought to be investigated. They are so terrible the way you run that network, and you're a disgrace. No more questions for me. Go ahead. Go ahead, talk about that.
Please, may we have a South African
His name
question,
is Peter
Mr.
something.
President
He's
Trump?
a terrible.
If they're committing genocide, why invite them to the White House? I'll be quiet. Sure, that's my question now.
Let's go.
Thank you so much, President Trump. Annika Larson from ENCA in South Africa. Thank you very much for hosting us. What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation we've just seen on the screen?
I don't know. Look, these are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death.
That is sad.
Horrible death. Death.
Now, again, I'm not saying, I just haven't seen it. Maybe I'm naive. I'm ignorant to the fact of what's happening. I don't support genocide. But make sure y'all like and subscribe.
I don't know.
But you know that there are
Pick
black
anyone.
people who are
White
dying
South
most.
Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all. I mean, I'll give these to you. So when you say, what would I like to do? I don't know what to do. Look at this. White South African couple say that they were attacked violently. Well, I can do that. Look, here's burial sites all over the place. These are all white farmers that are being buried.
President Trump.
And he asks about a jet that was given.
My first question
You ought
about
to be
Afrikaners.
ashamed. You know, you are so bad. You're such a bad reporter.
If they're committing genocide, why invite them? Sir, if they are committing genocide, why invite the South Africans to the White House?
May I finish, please, President Trump? Mr. President
This
Trump,
is one after another.
That's buddy who he's arguing with. Oh, y'all can't see.
I'm just.
His buddy who we're arguing right here. We can't ask no more questions. Still watching Elon though.
Well, I think the videos are so. No. When you look at the videos, I mean, how does it get worse? And these are people that are officials, and they're saying that kill the white farmer and take their land. That's what. And I have other friends in South Africa. I have people that left. One in particular that says it's you can't go there. He said they want to take your land. They take your land and they kill you. It's okay, and they say it's okay to do. Now we're going to talk about it, but this is a tremendous look. This is so recent. These are all people that recently got killed. Yeah. And I don't know how it can get any worse. These are
Yeah, I think that's something the South African president should answer.
The people that you saw in that movie, those are officials. Those are people that were in office. They had one march. They had a dance in your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
Let me clarify that.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can
and then
take
when
land.
they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
nothing happens.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately, through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now
The farmers are black. The farmers are not black. I don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed in large numbers.
Sometimes, honestly, I do wish that the president would let other people speak. I'm rude sometimes. I cut people off because I'm excited. But I do feel that if you let this genocide narrative get played out and you let Elon put a battery in the back of conservatives to get this out, and to me, honestly, I've seen some of those videos, I thought that was the president of South Africa. Until you hear the president of South Africa saying that that's a leader of a small minority party where they get, I guess, the freedom of speech, but nothing they're saying is, he was saying before President Trump cut him off, essentially, is that what they're passing isn't part of the government, and that there's criminality. If this does happen, when it does happen, people will be prosecuted by our laws. That's what I'm trying to hear him articulate. He didn't say it that way, but he was, I believe he was trying to get there, give him some kind of grace. However, it's not his White House, it's not his Oval Office, so Trump gets to say and control it, the narrative. However, I don't support genocide, so if it's happening, like Trump said, cool, there are not a lot or any black farmers. And this isn't the stream where you're going to learn about apartheid, so go learn about apartheid, go watch the Nelson Mandela documentary, or read the book, or any of his books, and you will kind of see, okay, this is why there are no maybe predominantly black farmers, and why you have an uprising of people who are probably impacted by apartheid, who are leading this charge of genocide that, as the chat say, is happening. I need some, not say I need proof, I just need to read it so I can be knowledgeable about it, right? It's about having the right information. Because I'll be wrong to have a channel where I just want to stop misinformation, then I'm not taking the due diligence to read about it. But I didn't plan on talking about apartheid and the genocide. I just wanted to get to a Trump interview, because we've been doing a lot of Trump interviews on the channel, or press conferences. But yeah, I see the chat popping. I haven't watched it. I'm trying to get back to this because I know the chat is very lively. But I'm going to get back to the Trump interview. We have about another 30 minutes here.
And you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect to their loved ones that were killed.
I'm not justifying genocide. Oh, Paul, I'm not justifying genocide. I'm justifying the fact that I'm not as knowledgeable enough about the genocide that could be or possibly is happening in South Africa. That's what I'm saying. I honestly thought from on Twitter, the video Trump showed, I thought that was a president of South Africa. So I'm not justifying genocide. What I'm trying to say is that there's some miscommunication and misefforts. I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm not saying it is happening. What I'm saying is I don't know what the hell is happening. But make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you're here.
They died violently. And, you know, I mean, we're here to talk about it. And I didn't know we'd get involved here. But I will say this, that if the news wasn't fake like NBC, which is fake news, totally, one of the worst, ABC, NBC, CBS, horrible. But if they weren't fake news like this jerk that we have here, if we had real reporters, they'd be covering it. But the fake news in this country doesn't talk about that. They don't want to talk about it, but now they have to talk about it.
Exactly.
But they won't. This won't even be a subject. They'll have him talking about why did a country give a free, think of this, why did a country give an airplane to the United States Air Force? Okay? The United States, not to me, to the United States Air Force, so they could help us out, because we need an Air Force One until that's Air Force One is being built, 2 of them being built. But Boeing's a little bit late, unfortunately. So why did they give us a plane to the United States Air Force? That's what that idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I take it. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay. But coming back to this issue, which I really would like us to talk about, and talk about it very calmly. We were taught by Nelson Mandela that whenever there are problems, people need to sit down around a table and talk about them.
Well,
and this is precisely what we would also like to talk about, including, of course, trade matters, investment matters. So the issues that concern you as the United States.
Those are all recent. And those are all deaths.
Yeah, in many ways, I mean, one should say you are a partner of South Africa, and you are raising concerns, and these are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about. Let me just add quickly, you know, the criminality that we are experiencing in our country needs quite a lot of technological capability. And in one of our areas in South Africa, we're using US technology, which is able to, in many ways, identify where shootings are happening and all that. And I'd like to talk about that.
Shot spotter technology?
There is support that we can get from you as the United States to help us deal with all these acts of criminality. And that is what I believe partnership is all about. And we are here as a partner so that we can help each other whenever there are challenges. So I'd like us to discuss it, and of course outside of the media, so that we sit down and have a really good discussion that will lead to good outcomes.
Are there any other further punitive measures that could be in place should you not be satisfied that South Africa is fixing some of the very bad things, in inverted commas, that you tweeted are happening?
Well, there are a lot of bad things happening in many countries, but this in particular has been very, very bad, very bad. And because of we're going to have the whole world watching in another short period of time, because you have the G20, and that's a big deal. And it seems like, I want you to look good. I don't want you to look bad.
Very good.
But we have hundreds of people, thousands of people trying to come into our country because they feel they're going to be killed and their land is going to be confiscated. And you do have laws that were passed that gives you the right to confiscate land for no payment. You can take away land for no payment.
I want to clarify that, because we have a constitution. Our constitution guarantees and protects the sanctity of tenure of land ownership. And that constitution protects all South Africans with regards to land ownership. However, we do say, because we've got to deal with the past. The government, and as your government also has the right to expropriate land for public use.
And you're doing that.
And we've never really gotten underway with that. And we are going to be doing
You're taking people's land away from them. And those people in many cases are being executed. They're being executed. And they happen to be white, and most of them happen to be farmers. And that's a tough situation. I don't know how you explain that. How do you explain that? They're taking people's land away, and in many cases those people are being executed, and in many cases it's not the government that's doing it, it's people that kill them and then take their land, and nothing happens to them. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country. They're also going to Australia in a smaller number. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country, and they're white farmers, and they feel that they're going to die in South Africa, and it's a bad thing. Yeah.
What can South Africa do? What concessions would you like to see them make to improve relations with the United States? Then I have one more for President Ramaphosa afterwards.
Well, we just spoke about, I got them a very, very complex machine, 150 of them. And I was asked by the president if he could help, and I did that. And, I have great feeling for all countries. I deal with all countries. But I have a great feeling for South Africa because I have friends. I have a couple of friends, a few friends here today. But I have many friends from South Africa. But many of those friends are not, they can't go back. I have Elon is from South Africa. I don't want to get Elon involved. That's all I have to do, get him into another thing. But Elon happens to be from South Africa. This is what Elon wanted. He actually came here on a different subject, sending rockets to Mars, okay? He likes that better. He likes that subject better. But Elon is from South Africa, and I don't want to talk to him about that. I don't think it's fair to him.
That's right.
But I will say that people are fleeing South Africa for their own safety. Their land is being confiscated, and in many cases they're being killed. And that scene of, you see how many crosses they have. Those crosses, that's a dead person in every one of them. And those trucks or cars are paying their respects to all of those dead people on a Sunday morning. That's a rough thing to explain away. And the problem we have, and the way, a correct and a fair media exposes things. But we have a very corrupt media.
And that's quietly what I'm saying, right? So just imagine, I know people were in the comments saying I was supporting apartheid. I support genocide. It's not that. We live in a society where Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, Wall Street Journal, whatever, they'll feed us so much stuff. Like, case in point, I have a homie that lives in Joshua Tree, California, Palm Springs. The other day, you can Google this, he was walking down the street, well, not walking, going to get a rental, and somebody blew up a fertility clinic literally blocks away from where he was, right? And he was talking to me about it, and I know it's on the other side of the country. And it's like, wow, I didn't hear about this. But when I start going through the Google Trends and going through the news, I'm like, wow, I hear Chicago shootings. I hear stuff happening in Atlanta, like Charlotte, New York, all type of stuff, right? On top of the algorithm, TikTok. Nobody was talking about the genocide in South Africa for real. So unless you go do deeper research, because the media only wants to spin the block on, oh, Trump did this week. This is my narrative. Democrats will push, oh, Trump's racist this week. Look at what the racist Republicans are doing. Democrats will say, we're trying to save you. Go give you a living wage. They can't even tell you what a living wage is. And then say, hey, we need men to play in women's sports. So cool. All these different things that are happening. There's not a real way to say, okay, I'm going to trust the media that's out there because it could be a spin. It could be a spin on Elon's side to say, hey, this is happening. It could be a spin on the Democrat side to say, hey, it's not happening. Then it's like, okay, where am I getting my trusted resources from? And that's why I'm saying, you know what? I'm not saying it is happening. I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying I need a more valid source I can trust about the information I get, because I think that that's the biggest thing with misinformation. Because again, even the videos I've seen on X and social media about the killing of white farmers, I thought Buddy was the president. So it's like, damn, this is happening. Then you hear, oh, it's not happening. You hear, oh, it is happening. And people are coming. It's like, okay, what's really happening? Because they have genocide in Congo happening right now too. But it's not getting the headway. Libya, Palestine, Gaza Strip. We know it. Like, honestly, are you getting a head count of the people that are dying daily in the Ukraine-Russia war? No. We get a press conference, it's 5,000 people, but we never hear the headline. Unless, honestly, until they blow up a hospital or a school and children die, that's the only time it'll come across. But by that time, there are 50 other things that happen in the world that kind of take our mind, not dilute it, but it's like, wait a minute. I forgot this happened, or I forgot to research, or I just realized the information I got was false in the first place. So that's what I'm saying. Even Trump will agree. The media doesn't, the legacy news does not give you the news that most people want to see. They just regurgitate the same thing. And here's what I realized it. I used to watch CNN, and Wolf Blitzer would have breaking news every 30 minutes to an hour. And for a while, I'm sitting there like, wait, how the hell are you telling me the same story from 60 minutes ago or 30 minutes ago? This ain't no damn breaking news. It's the same thing you've been talking about. That's what I'm saying. Give us real facts. Let's get back to this, though. We haven't even got to Diddy trial yet, yo.
If this were the other way around, it would be the biggest story. Now, I will say
right.
apartheid, terrible. That was the biggest story. That was reported all the time. This is sort of the opposite of apartheid. What's happening now is never reported. Nobody knows about it. All we know is we're being inundated with people, with white farmers from South Africa. And it's a big problem. Marco Rubio was telling me he's never seen anything like it. The numbers of people that want to leave South Africa because they feel they're going to be dead very soon.
Yeah,
Yes,
I was going to say,
Brian,
if I could just ask the question, 72% of farmers in your country are white. If they flee, do you feel that maybe the economy could collapse? You may not have a gap to fill in those people that...
I didn't know 72% of the farmers in South Africa were white, because Trump said earlier they're president, all white farmers. I assumed that it was closer to 90%, 95%. So I get back to it.
He replaced those farmers.
You know, I'd like my Minister of Agriculture, who is white, who comes from an opposition party to mine, who's joined my government at my invitation to address this very issue, including the question that you just raised. John?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Yeah. And Mr. President, thank you for welcoming us to the White House. I would say we have a rural safety problem in South Africa, and I don't think anyone wants to candy coat that. And it requires a lot of effort to get on top of it. It's going to require...
Pause real quick. Shout out to my girl, Susie Wiles, Chief of Staff to the President. The real Lady Tyrell. Because if you knew what I knew about how they trying to take Ron DeSantis out and Casey DeSantis out of Florida forever, what I've learned today happening in Florida politics. Now, if you don't know, Hope Florida's a big thing. You can look up Hope Florida, look up Ron DeSantis, look at the $10 million of Medicaid money that they took out of a settlement, a Medicaid overpayment settlement, and gave to the Attorney General, who was in the Chief of Staff to the Governor, for his political committees to kill an abortion and a marijuana amendment. Well, guess what? Ron DeSantis also got in the governor's office, and he decided to fire Susie Wiles and have her fired from ballot partners. And Trump was the only person who was there to support her, take her back, and now Trump's back in office. And guess who he has a vendetta for? And Susie Wiles has a vendetta for that good old America's governor, Ron DeSantis. So I want to take a moment and recognize my girl, Susie Wiles, in the game. Let's get back to the Agriculture Commissioner from South Africa, though. Again, I appreciate y'all tapping into the stream tonight, man.
More policing resources. It's going to require a different strategy to be able to deal with it. But certainly the majority of South Africa's commercial and smallholder farmers really do want to stay in South Africa and make it work. And I've just come from the largest agricultural show in the Southern Hemisphere with organized agriculture and farmers, and the majority of them want to stay. But they too, they have a memorial to those who've died as a result of farm attacks. And as the Minister of Agriculture, it is something that I'm particularly exercised with my colleagues at police and my colleagues in the justice cluster to stop making farm attacks and stock theft a priority crime. And it affects all farmers in South Africa, particularly stock theft. It has a disproportionate effect on smallholder black farmers. I also want to just say this. that the two individuals that are in that video that you've seen are both leaders of opposition minority parties in South Africa. Mkhonto Wesizwe under Mr. Zuma, and the economic freedom fighters under Mr. Malema. Now, the reason that my party, the Democratic Alliance, which has been an opposition party for over 30
Look at Elon's face. He not buying it. Hold on, make sure y'all can see Elon. Elon not buying it. And Trump like, what the hell? If this could be the thing that gets Elon kicked out of the damn White House, I support it. But let's hear what the Agriculture Commissioner got to say.
30 years, chose to join hands with Mr. Ramaphosa's party, was precisely to keep those people out of power. We cannot have those people sitting in the union buildings making decisions. And that is why after 30 years of us exchanging barbs across the floor in Parliament and trying to get one over on each other, we've decided to join hands precisely to keep that lot out of government. Because the day they get in to the doors of the union buildings in South Africa or control of our Parliament, that's what you're going to see. And that is why this government, working together, needs support of our allies around the world so that we can strengthen our hand, grow our economy, and shut the door forever on that rabble getting through the doors of the union buildings, because then South Africa's future will be...
So you denounced that type of language in the video that you saw?
Oh yes, we've always done so. As government, as my own party, we are completely opposed to that. We, in 1955, adopted a document which said South Africa belongs to all who live in it.
But why wouldn't you arrest that man? That man said, kill the white farmers, kill the white farmers. And then he danced, and he's dancing, and it's kill the white farmers. I think, I'm not sure, but I think if somebody got up in Parliament and started saying kill a certain group of people, he would be arrested very quickly. That man is going all over South Africa, and that's not a small party. That was a stadium that holds 100,000 people, and I hardly saw an empty seat. That's a lot of people. That's a lot.
I'll be fair with Trump on that one. It could be a minority party. There was a whole lot of people in that stadium, but I got to check the population in South Africa. Hold on, let's check it, y'all.
And those crosses, we have dead white people, dead white farmers, mostly. And you take a look at Australia, they're being inundated, and we're being inundated with people that...
Nah, real quick, nah. We'll move this over here for y'all. I can't move that. 63.21 million people in South Africa. 51 million people in South Korea. 26 million people in Australia. There's a lot of people in South Africa. Hold on, I'm gonna try to copy this over. Hold on. Y'all can see what I'm saying. Make sure I'm not tripping, right? I didn't know that was a population in South Africa for real. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. So even if it's 100,000 people, okay, put in perspective, 100,000 people packing out that stadium, I can see why they are a minority party, but I can see why they can never let them get in power either. Respectfully, let's get back to it.
They want to get out, and their farm is valueless. It's valueless, and they just want to get out with their life. And this is a very serious situation. And if we had a real news or real press or media, we don't have that because they won't talk about this because they're all guys like that idiot. But if we had a real press, it would be exposed. And you know, the beauty of exposing it is it's like a cleansing action. When it gets exposed, it'll get fixed. That's when it'll get fixed. But people don't talk about it. And I'll tell you who's talking about the thousands of people that are fleeing South Africa right now.
I quietly feel that Elon really knew good. I'm trying not to cuss on stream. They told me to stop cussing. Elon knew the parameters of this. I think Susie Wiles knew, right? I think everybody kind of knew, like, hey, this is happening, but it's not, it's happening, but this isn't from the president of the country. Yeah, I kind of feel Trump kind of like, wait a minute, what the hell you mean? No, I got to fight for my argument, but you're not even fighting with the damn Democrats. You fighting with the Green Party. The Green Party never gonna take over America. That's basically what they're saying. The Green Party will never take over. It is what it is.
We discussed USAID and the devastating impact the cuts are having across the African.
I'm gonna get to the chat after this show.
It's devastating, and hopefully a lot of people are going to start spending a lot of money. And I've talked to other nations. We want them to chip in and spend money too. And we've spent a lot, and it's a tremendous problem going on in many countries. A lot of problems going on. The United States always gets the requests for money. Nobody else helps, as you know. Europe doesn't help. Europe hasn't given anything. All they do is sue our companies. You know, they sue Apple, and they sue all of our companies. Apple had to pay $17 billion on a nonsense lawsuit. Very unfair. But we're going to always be there to help.
Hey, James. Hey, JB. Hanif.
If this Afrikaner resettlement issue is resolved, you're going to go into a room after this, you guys are going to talk. If it is resolved, what is the potential for the future-looking relationship?
It's fantastic. It's got to be resolved. It should be resolved. It's a little bit bad when you see a stadium with 100,000 people in it, because that means it's more than just a little movement. It's a pretty big movement in South Africa. So it has to be resolved. It'll be the end of the country if it's not resolved.
Potential for the relationship moving forward?
I hope so. That's why I'm here. I mean, I'm not here for my health. I'm here to see if we can do something. No, I'd like to see. I have friends. I can tell you, Ernie Els and Retief Goosen, they feel so strongly they wanted to be here on behalf of South Africa, not on behalf of me. And, you know,
Not on the behalf of the white farmers either, so I think that's different. You can't conflate it all because people not paying attention to it, right? They probably came because the president came to say, okay, cool, to support South Africa trade and clarify this narrative. At the same time, this is assumption here. You're not saying that they came for genocide. You came, maybe I stopped them too early. You're saying you just came to support South Africa, which is totally different from the genocide.
they said, can we be here for this? Because they love the country. Ernie, do you guys want to say a couple of words or anything? I hate to put you in, this is tougher than sinking a 3-footer. Which they have, and they've sank many 3-footers.
Thank you, Mr. President. And thanks for the honor of being here. We've known each other a long time. We have spoken. You know, we're proud South Africans. I still have my South African passport. You know, we travel with this passport, you know, and I got my visa here. So, you know, but we want to see things get better in our home country. And that's the bottom line. It's been 35 years since the transition. President Ramaphosa was right in the middle of the transition time in 1990 and before that. So it's been 35 years of ANC government. And I know there's a lot of anger, you know, through the transition. There was also a lot of stuff happening in the apartheid days. You know, we grew up in the apartheid era. But I don't think two wrongs makes a right. You know, President Mandela, when he came out of prison for all that time, didn't come out with hatred, you know, and really unified our nation through sport. You know, we won the Rugby World Cup in the '95.
4 times.
We won the African Nations Cup, soccer. You know, we won some majors as golfers and so forth. So what I'm trying to say is, you know,
Bro, blocking everything. Get this angle. I ain't mad at you.
That's why we really wanted to meet you, meet the administration, and see our way forward, because we still want to see our country flourish. You know, we've got some great things going on. Business is getting involved with government. Farmers are getting involved in local municipalities, trying to rebuild some of the infrastructure that's been decaying for a long time.
Mind you, world famous golfer from South Africa. Not talking about the narrative Elon saying, and that's what I'm saying, chat. For those of y'all who are saying I supported apartheid or genocide earlier, no, what I'm saying is Like, let's be for real. There has to be some spin to the narrative. Because even, check it this way. We have these protesters in America that blame everything Trump does on racism, right? Cool. Then they come and say everything. Like, let's be for real. The way I kind of interpret this is AOC taking over. You know good and damn well AOC ain't never taken over, like Talib taking over or Bernie Sanders. It's not happening, dog. So even though Bernie Sanders, hold on now, can go get a stadium full of 100,000 people to talk about a living wage and talk about how billionaires and getting tax cuts, I bet one thing Bernie can't do, Bernie can't stop Trump's bill. He can't stop the big, beautiful bill, right? To me, that would be the equivalent of this. So I'm not justifying genocide. I'm not justifying killing white people, black people, farmers, bus boys, whatever, right? What I'm saying is AOC ain't the president. So if somebody in Africa, South Africa, would see AOC speaking and they thought AOC was a president of the United States, you already know that they have totally wrong information. It's totally misinformation. Our fact source is wrong. And that's why I'm saying maybe it's Daily Mail, Al Jazeera, someone else to give us the facts. Because I don't believe Ernie Els would have came up here and not just blasted the fact of, listen, I know I grew up in apartheid, but I know 10 white farmers that were killed. And I'm not saying it's not happening. What I'm saying is that AOC and Bernie Sanders are not the president of the United States. They are the same activists that they have in South Africa. My 2 cents.
So there's a lot of coexistence going on and help from a lot of areas. But I feel we need the US to push this thing through. We've got a great ally. If we can have the US, it's always been an ally of South Africa for a very long time. Even in the days of the war, up in Angola, you guys helped us. So very important for us to have your support and get the change we need.
Where did you do that well? He might have done that even better than he plays golf, which is almost impossible. Johan, please.
Mr. President, if you had to wind all of those tapes properly, you will see I'm the biggest target of that rabble rouser. Number one for over 10 years, Mr. Malema. In fact, the first time I met him, he was in the youth league with that gentleman. And look how he's changed.
Right.
We have too many deaths, but it's across the board. It's not help.
There we go.
We need Starlink at every little police station. We need drones. I actually got drones donated for the peace parks to stop elephant and rhino poaching. And his predecessor stopped the importation because he said the United States would spy on us. I mean, US basics, the ridicule. So if you can help us. Remember, sir, you and I lived in New York in the 70s. We never thought New York could be what it became. 2 commissioners, a tough mayor. We need your help to stop this awful killing. But it's across the board. Ernie's right now building a house in George. I'm building 3 cottages for my grandchildren on a farm outside Graaff-Reinet. I often go to bed without locking the door. And we have a serious problem with illegal aliens who stream across the border. And if you really look...
Wait a minute. I gotta pause that. I gotta look at a map of Africa. Because I know y'all heard Buddy just say, they have people, wait a minute now, swimming across the border. Now let me make sure that y'all can see South Africa, right? Because I'm trying to make sense of this. See, okay, cool. I'm in Florida. Let's put it in perspective, right? Let me make sure that y'all can see me. Oh, y'all can't see Florida, right? Okay, cool. I'm in Florida. I can expect in Florida somebody coming from. Hold on now. Damn, I'm just messing everything up, huh? My bad. I could see somebody coming from Jamaica, Haiti, Havana, Bahamas, here, right? What I don't see is, and I'm gonna have to straighten this out. I get it. What now? Oh, hold on. I gotta make sure that y'all can see this, right? So you mean to tell me people swimming from Namibia? They ain't coming from Botswana to. I don't know how to pronounce that. So they're coming from Madagascar, Mozambique. I'm not Angola, right? So they're coming from Angola and they're swimming this out. I don't believe that, because they not coming from port. Where are they swimming from? Where they swimming across the borders at? Lesotho. I actually looked this up on TikTok. It's a country inside of the country. It's a country inside of South Africa. And it's all like mountainous, right? Amazing. But I know they're not swimming down the mountain and coming. Okay, let's get back to this. Because I've never heard. Now, again. When they put the media out there, they talk about immigration. We're talking about the 20 people Biden left across the border. 10 million, 2 million, however many people they say Biden let in. Cool. But I've never heard of South Africa having this immigration problem with people swimming across the border. I had to stop there because I had to make sure that Madagascar was one of the only islands around South Africa, in that it wasn't like Haiti, DR, Jamaica, Cuba, where people are maybe 60 miles away from the next country. They could probably swim over on a raft or things of that nature. Not just make it sound that way, but it's the reality of how the 90s used to be. Let's get back to it.
At our statistics, a lot of these murders, firstly it's unemployment and illegal aliens. And then I met Vice President Vance many years ago at Charlie Rowe's show. My wife loved his book. And she reminded me this morning that you emphasized the devastation that occurs when big companies leave towns and cities, and there's a culture of dependency that develops. I remember you discussing it. Now that's our problem. If we don't get our economy to grow, the culture of dependency and the lawlessness will increase. I've been against apartheid all my life, and I'm their number one target. Please just Google my name and Malema. You'll see it, sir. Yeah.
Unfortunate.
But the crime is bad.
It's unfortunate. That's what I was saying earlier. It's unfortunate, but I don't think the level-headed people in any other country would allow that to happen, whether you're a white farmer or a black farmer or Asian farmer in South Africa, to be real.
The crime is terrible, sir, but Mr. Steenhuisen won't admit to it, but he runs the Western Cape, where I live. And the biggest murder rate is in the Cape Flats. Gangs. We've got gang warfare. Like your M33 or whatever, these guys. We've got the equivalents there. But we need your help, sir. And we need Elon technology.
Well, one of the real areas of support
that was powerful
is really investments. We've got to grow our economy, because through growing the economy, we're then able to create more jobs.
Your phone, bro.
Because crime really thrives where there is inequality and unemployment. And that is one of the reasons that has brought us here, to improve our investment relations, our trade relations, so that we can preserve the number of jobs that your companies have created in South Africa, by virtue of what we export to you, we are able to create up to 500,000 jobs in the auto industry, in the agricultural industry, and a number of other industries, mining, where we export things to you. And we also know that as South African companies invest here, you are also able to create jobs. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship. So our main real reason for being here is to foster trade and investment so that we are able to grow our economy with your support, and so that we are also able to address all these societal problems, because criminality thrives when people are unemployed, when they have no other hope to eke out a living. So that is what we need to resolve, and your support, your partnership with us is what is really going to give us a strong capability to move forward.
Excuse me, do you have anything to say? I mean, I don't want to leave you out. You know, the guy won 3 or 4 majors. 3 or 4?
No, only 2.
2. That's a lot. By the way, 2's a lot. A lot of tournaments you won too. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. President Ramaphosa. I grew up in an area in South Africa that is a farmland area, Polokwane.
Yeah.
And there is some issues up there. Obviously, my dad was a property developer as well as a part-time farmer. And yeah, some of these buddy farmers got killed. The farm is still going. My brothers run it. But it's a constant battle with farms they're trying to burn the farms down to chase you away. So it is a concern to try and make a living as a farmer. And at the end of the day, without farmers, there's no food on the plate. So we need the farmers to produce the food.
Farming, right? He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't even want to do what you're doing, right? They love farming. They don't want to leave. But it's a struggle.
Yeah, and food and fresh water is the most important thing in life. Without those 2 things, we can't survive.
How is the water there?
The water is great. Obviously, all the water comes out of the borehole, out of ground for us down there. But yeah, it is a battle to get the water out sometimes when all the equipment gets stolen all the time that you're trying to get the water out.
So does your family and your brother, do they feel safe on the farm?
They live behind electric fences, try and be at night safe. But it is constant whenever you leave that something could happen. And
there's nowhere to live.
Both of them has been attacked in their houses. My mom's been attacked in the house when she was 80. So it is difficult. But the guys live a great life despite everything going on.
Something.
President Trump, I brought along the president of the largest trade union in our country, Ziggy Solosi, because she leads many workers, more than 1 million, 2 million workers, and maybe we should give her a chance to say something, because she's come all the way to join us.
Thank you very much, Mr. President Trump,
Thank you.
for having us, and President for extending the invitation to us as organized labor. And I must say that
Give it a mic, man.
To support the initiative that has been made by our government with business, of course, as organized labor. We've been coming to Washington on the AGOA trade relations in the previous regime, and I think at the center of it all, for me, it is exactly what Mr. Rupert has said, the importance of us growing the economy. We have always emphasized when we were here and kept on coming and negotiating on AGOA that the 600 US companies that are based in South Africa, as you said, President Ramaphosa, 500,000 jobs will be wiped out. We need more foreign direct investment in our country. We are not just talking about those that will lose employment, but we are talking about over 40% of people that are unemployed, that have no hope of ever finding a job. And we think that, correctly, as they have said, that we need to deal with the issue of porous borders in our country, so that everyone that comes in is documented. We also need to, and I would have thought that the minister would address
Trump done
the issue
clocked
of
out,
land
boy.
expropriation and how the policy works in South Africa.
Trump got both hands on the legs. Trump been clocked out. After these three other men spoke, Trump ain't trying to hear nothing from this lady, respectfully. But you could just tell by the body language, like, yeah, we've been here for 58 minutes. Had past handshakes and photos, and we still got to meet after the media. He's done.
Recently, President, as you were preparing to come here on the news, in, I think it was in Natal, there was a handover of farms. And white farmers were saying, we are donating the land, but also there's a willing buyer, willing seller in South Africa. So there is no expropriation without compensation. But it is a willing buyer, willing seller. And that white farmer was even saying, President, that the government is even paying more in buying the land than what the land is worth of. And I think those are the realities, President, that we must say that we need to address, of course, but also the importance of agriculture linked to AGOA. People rely on it, and I think as a
Trump looks sleep. I ain't even gonna hold you. The lady literally just said, and I didn't catch her title, so please excuse no disrespect. She literally said that some of the farmers are getting paid more than what the land is valued at when the government comes and takes it over. So that's another narrative that's not out there. That's why I'm not saying it's happening. I'm not saying it don't happen. We just don't cover it in our country what other countries are going through. And I don't think there's a media source out there that makes sure that, hey, this narrative is out there, but this is a fact. Nobody wants to do that. They just want to spin the block on the hate. That's why they'll say Biden let in African immigrants from Congo, but we let in African immigrants from South Africa. It's still the fact of they're going to get your tax money to build here and live here. The same thing that we want immigrants to leave this country for. I get it. White farmers are coming here with some kind of wealth. They're not coming here broke, but we still going to give them a government handout. Let's be for real.
For survival and living.
Let's be for real, y'all.
Also the issue of the crime statistics. There is no doubt about it that we are a violent nation, for a number of reasons, and we're not condoning anything. But also if you go into the rural areas where black majority are, you would see women, elderly, being raped, being killed, being murdered, and these are black elderly women.
That's crazy.
That would be found throat slits.
That's crazy.
Multiple times and all of that. And the problem in South Africa, it is not necessarily about race, but it is about crime. And we think that we are here to say, how do we both nations work together to reset, to really talk about investment, but also help us in how we can have the technology and everything that is needed, President, to really address the levels of crime that we have in our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Genocide is a very strong word. I'm wondering if you've made up your mind as to whether you believe genocide is occurring in South Africa, or you still have doubts. And if you have made up your mind, why invite President Ramaphosa here today for this conversation?
Well, I haven't made up my mind. I hate to see it from the standpoint of South Africa, but also, I'm trying to save lives. I'm working with Russia and Ukraine. I don't have to do that. It's not our war. It was started by other people. It was helped along by our past administration.
I'll quickly say this. I've been streaming Trump the past 2-3 weeks. He's taken a lot of shots at Joe Biden, incompetent this, everything that. I'll give it to Trump right here. This is the first one I've seen since the colon cancer diagnosis with Joe Biden. You could tell he has a heart right here. Because that little bit, he didn't go diminish. He just didn't even say the name. At least, because we know Trump. Like Rosie O'Donnell Trump. Pocahontas Trump. Right? Whatever he said about Ted Cruz's wife. Right? We know this kind of Trump. He'll be petty for anything. But I think for this piece, that's kind of his way of showing compassion. And you gotta recognize it when it's there. I'm not saying it's he ain't gonna be petty all the time. I'm not saying he's right, wrong, and the rest of it, but imbecile, all the other stuff. You could just tell, like, yeah, I'm over that, bro. Like, my dog going through something that a bigger fight than this presidential White House campaign shit, you know. So yeah, salute to the president for that.
It would have never happened if I were president, but I'm trying to save lives, no matter where. Rwanda, I have nothing to do with Rwanda and the Congo, but I felt I had a very talented person in this administration, and I sent him there, and he did an unbelievable job, I think. I mean, we're going to find out, but he's done the hardest part of the job. It should happen. If I can save
I'm gonna
lives,
get to the chat in a second, y'all.
lives. If it's in Africa, that's great. If it's in Europe, if it's wherever it may be, and it's a very small investment to do, believe me, compared to what the consequences are. So I hope we can do something. Look, I have so many friends. These two men, I have great admiration for them because I know what they do for a living, and that's a very hard living. Going from city to city, from country to country, and hitting a ball 350 yards like they do, and
Better than you and I.
getting the ball in the hole. It's a very tough, with lots of people watching, right?
Yes,
That's a very tough living. You know, they're champions. I respect champions, and I respect very much. And I think the country is very lucky. They really wanted to be here.
That's true.
They could be elsewhere. They could be on a beautiful fairway someplace, and they wanted to be here. So,
Thanks, about to wrap this up.
My name is Yanda Mhobo from Newsroom Africa in South Africa. How important is it for the United States to be at our G20 summit in November, given the relationship between our two countries? You've just heard what has been said to you just now. Are you coming, and are you preparing to come?
So without the United States, the G20, just like the G7, used to be the G8, but brilliantly they threw Russia out. Would have been a lot better if Russia was in. You know, a lot of people would say, oh, that's not it. Because if Russia was in, you probably wouldn't have this war. And if you had a different president, you wouldn't have the war either. But we have a G7. It's important that the United States is in both of them. I think without the United States, it's I really believe it's not very important. It's not the same meaning.
As I said to President Trump, the U.S. really originated the G20, and it's important that the United States continues to play a key role in the G20, and we are privileged to be the president of the G20, but we are even overjoyed that we are going to hand over to the United States, who are the originators. And for that reason, I expect the United States to continue playing the leadership role in the G20 together with other countries. And
Oh shit, I forgot to check.
Initially spoke to
Yeah,
President
my dog was in supposed to have a guest in. Hold on, y'all.
state visit, and I also want to come and participate in the G20. And I want to gladly hand over to President Trump to take the leadership of the G20 forward in November.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, well, that wraps up the press conference there. Hold on, we have a special guest we about to add into the stream, y'all. So y'all just bear with your boy for 2 seconds. I'm gonna get to the chat too. Give me 1 second. Gotta hit the vertical sources again. Your boy is not the super professional streamer, but I do what I can, right? And now we have, hold on, homeboy FEEZY the Great. I gotta add Denzel. Can you hear me? All right, there we go. Let me make sure your mic's good. Hold on. Go ahead, say something for the stream real quick and check your mic. Yeah, we good. And I figured out how to separate your audio from the stream itself. Now, were you watching the stream, FEEZY the Great? All right, so you've seen some of this press conference about the president of South Africa and everything that's there between this narrative of white South African farmers getting killed. And really, from what you've seen about this press conference, what did you think, first off? Yeah. Because the Diddy case is a whole nother vibe, of course, and we're gonna get to that next. Actually, I'm gonna have that video queued up in a second. But this is my biggest takeaway, and I gotta get to the chat. So we'll get to the chat in a second. We cannot hear your guest. I said they can't hear you, bro. I think you gotta speak a little louder, my boy. Yeah, that's what they said in the chat. That no, I turned your volume up. So chat, let me know if you can hear the guest. No, you're fine. You're fine. I mean, we'll make it work. I just turned the volume up, but y'all let me know in the chat if y'all can hear the FEEZY the Great. But no sound on his end. That doesn't make sense. I thought y'all could hear him, man. Hold on now. We got technical difficulties. Hold on, y'all. I got too many windows open. We can't have a guest on, and I gotta add you to the other chat too. Hold on, y'all. We technical difficulties in this thing. Y'all give me like 2 minutes. Tap in. And more than anything, it's your boy Hip Hop Lobbyist. They say they can't hear anything on your end, so let me try to fix this. We're using Video Ninja for that. Let me try to fix this for y'all. Give me 1 second, chat. Patience. I'll be talking it up the storm, but I love that. Y'all see FEEZY dancing? Hold on. You got 2 videos, though, bro. Hold on, say something. I can't hear you at all. Did you mute your side? Did you mute your mic? Because it's showing that your mic is muted. Oh, say something. I hear you now.
You can hear me now.
I hear you now. What'd you change?
Okay, but they can't hear me.
Hold on, let me do it. Can y'all hear him now?
We apologize for the technical difficulties, technology.
Yeah, apologize for the technical difficulties. Hold on. Say something. I think they got you coming through. Yeah, they hear you now. Okay, they hear you now. Go ahead. What were you saying about? What do you think about the South African president? They can hear us now, so we good to go. I appreciate y'all chat. Appreciate y'all patience. So what do you think about the press conference in the White House?
Like I said, I only caught a little tail end of it, just a little bit more of it than I saw some earlier on YouTube, man. But like I was saying, at this point, man, it's just all reality TV. I think this is all just for the ratings. I think this is all just for the show at this point, man. So at first I went into it, with hopes, but it's just reality TV at this point.
I got you. Hey, Johnny 5, I appreciate you tapping in with the whole stream. You've been here the whole hour and change we've been on the stream. I appreciate you and everybody else supporting the channel tonight. Honestly, this is why I say, now I did see some, I think on social media, of course, they highlighted the fact of him going to watch the video that, made it seem like school, right? But they didn't highlight the fact of Gary Player, Ernie Els, and other people in the room, not just white Africans, right? Other people in the room that's like, okay, dispelling the fact of it's only because crime is issued. They don't have the technology. They even said to Elon, we could use our technology to fight crime because they just maybe got shot spotter, right? So part of it is, I think Elon just took a small fraction, and I'm not saying these 1,000 people, the people who've been killed, I'm not justifying genocide at all, race, white, black, Asian, whatever, right? But what I am saying is that Elon's put a battery in the conservatives' back to have this whole thing go. And realistically, crime is an issue in South Africa as a whole. They even said they have people swimming across the border in South Africa. I had to go to the map and be like, okay, are they swimming from Madagascar? They swimming from Angola? But at the same time, we realize other wars are happening across Africa, because it's not just the farmers, it's in Congo, it's everywhere. You realize all this is happening is an issue. But I also realized on my main screen, we had to switch it over on the main screen for people watching on the canvas on Twitch and YouTube, watching on the canvas side. I appreciate y'all. We just added FEEZY to that one as well. So we'll have the vertical stream along with the other piece. But overall, I know you said you jumped in the conversation late. We're gonna get to the Diddy stuff later, Diddy trial next. Anything else for Trump before we move on? Nothing, Fezz? You good?
I said, take your time, ain't no rush.
Oh, ain't no rush
we
there.
ain't got to rush to the Diddy trial, bro. It's overwhelming. It's too much, bro.
Yeah, it is. Because as you know, last time we talked about the Diddy trial, to be honest, we realized that Diddy and Cassie were some freaks. First off,
like they was living life, bro. That's why I say ain't no rush to get back to it, man. Because, bro, what does this have to do with the RICO? Why do we have to hear about all this horrible stuff? I want to hear about the gangster shit. I need to catch up on what Kid Cudi said and what Kid Cudi said on the stand, because that's the gangster shit I want to hear. I want to hear him out there acting like he the Joker for real in real life. That's what I want to hear.
That's exactly what it is. And actually,
sign me up, because because everybody say he's a monster. Jaguar Wright been saying for years that he's a monster. I need to hear the monster shit. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Hey, my dog said he's ready for the monster shit. So let's get into I had a Jasmine Crockett video queued up. But
I love her.
You love Jasmine Crockett. You want to do Jasmine first?
Yeah, she a vibe.
All right. It's about 14 minutes, chat. We can get y'all stick with us. We about to switch over.
You know, they say how the DNC is like Coachella for like political nerds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's true, because that's how I feel. If I would go see Jasmine Crockett speak. But anyway, continue. My bad. I ain't mean it.
You know, I would too. Here's the thing. I don't have a problem with Jasmine Crockett, but I do believe that she's getting caught up in the Democratic whirlwind of nonsense, right? Because now she wants to be chairman of Oversight, or at least a ranking member on Oversight. That means she's going to have to raise a lot of money. That means that she's going to have to be putting her ideals aside to make sure the Democratic Party is healthy. Because that's really the name of the game, is fundraising. And on top of it, I need to fix my lighting because I look super dark, but it's okay. I would agree with some Republicans. Sometimes it's race baiting. And at the same time, to be real, I'm not going to do it this stream. But it's a lot of talking, a lot of conversation, a lot of viral moments. But you elected to pass legislation, and there's not a lot of legislation being passed by my girl. But she getting money for the city. But when we talk about the construct of the laws and what people actually want to see, that ain't happening. But let's get into Jasmine Crockett piece. Jesus Christ is King, you know it. But more than anything, I'm gonna have FEEZY Great introduce himself, because it may be your first time here on the stream with me. And that's okay. I'm gonna introduce myself in the next 20-30 minutes at the 1 o'clock hour. But I want to give FEEZY Great a chance to introduce himself. Then we're going to go into the Jasmine Crockett conversation in committee today. Then we're going to finally go to Diddy. And I know y'all excited to talk about the freak out. So really, when it gets to the quiet storm hour around 1 a.m., we're going to get to the freaky shit with Diddy, because we know that's y'all laying in bed, y'all watching. Like, okay, what happened with Diddy? Let's get to Jasmine Crockett first. But go ahead, FEEZY. Introduce yourself to the people. Not too much detail. We have about 300-something people here with us tonight right now. And we want to say thank you for tapping in with us. But go ahead, FEEZY.
Thank you. And before we go into Diddy after Jasmine Crockett, man, we got to see where everybody's tapping in from. That's all I know. You already did that. You already did that in the first hour.
Say what?
You already did that in the first hour where you tapped in, seeing where everybody was from.
No, not yet. Go ahead.
Okay. We could do that later. But nah, man. You know, again, thank y'all, man. You know, my apologies. You know, on the tardiness, but either way, FEEZY the Great Midnight Vibes. You know, Volume 2, Episode 2. Whichever you want to cut it. We're here, man. We keep kicking it with y'all. We appreciate y'all showing up. You know, yeah, let's get it, man. You know, we want to have conversations, and we want to speak about things that need to be spoken about. Find me on Instagram, FEEZY the Great, FEEZYDAGR 8. Yeah, that's pretty much what things go down at. Let's see. I do want to say one thing before we go to the Jasmine Crockett thing. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead.
You know, I used to, when it came to politics, you know, we was in the game deep. You know, we you know, a little of our background. We both have political backgrounds, whether it's working for the government or working as field, working on campaigns, working at the Capitol, working for the government,
Appreciate y'all.
Having work up in DC, working for capital city governments, county administration, public administration, all of the above. So we have experience dealing with that. So we've been working with politics for at least the past easily, and I hate to say this, 20 years.
Yeah, it's up there, bro. We OGs. We OGs for real.
Oh my Jesus.
Callie in the house too. Appreciate y'all. I'm reading the chat.
My heart. Whew, 20 years, and it hurts to say that, but we was in Tallahassee. We started off in Tallahassee, working on campaigns, working on local government campaigns, working on mayoral campaigns, working for the Florida Democratic Party, working for the Leon County Democratic Party, working at the Capitol, working for the local governments, capital city governments, whether it's working with Palm Beach County, working with Riviera Beach, working with City of Atlanta, things like that. So yeah, we have a pretty decent amount of government/political experience.
Somebody said Atlanta's a little freak off.
What I've noticed is that a lot of people, legislators specifically, you ever realize how often you hear, oh, the House passed the bill to change the world, and then you don't hear nothing else about it?
Yeah.
You ever paid attention to the news and you hear politicians say, hey, I'm going to put forth a bill to stop crime, blah, 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 or something. And you be like, oh, yeah, that's what's up. And then you don't hear nothing else ever about it again. I started to realize, and again, that's why I appreciate people like Jasmine Crockett. And because I'm starting to realize that you have a lot of legislators and politicians who just be capping and be making it sound good, like they actually gonna do something.
Bruh.
Am I wrong? Am I in the wrong space here?
No, you right. That's quietly why we made this space. Not only to be real, people that are here, right? It's to help educate y'all. Like, let's get out of the narrative. Like, even if you love Jasmine Crockett, you hate Jasmine Crockett, cool. Let's hear what you got to say. And then let's kind of go into a record. Are you actually passing bills? Are you doing anything besides, or are you just a talking head? Because that's what we end up getting on the local level.
Or are you just a
state
career
level
politician?
Exactly. It's like they feed you the bullshit enough for you to have to spin. Then it's like, damn, you never, from the spin, they never get to a point of people having middle ground and say, you know what, I could actually see what some of what she's saying. But then it gets so far Democratic, so far Republican, that it's like, this shit ain't talking to, sorry, they told me not to stop cussing. And hold on, Johnny, because Johnny 5 said something early in the comment. They didn't tell me to stop cussing. It's a free speech. But people told me because I cuss so much, and FEEZY's known me for 20 plus years, that it kind of degrades the message that I'm saying. And it makes
cussing helps emphasize the message that's coming across.
Right.
If I don't cuss, you don't understand the context and the effect that I want my message to come.
Right. And because when I started working in politics, I seen people get cussed out. I say, oh shit, they talk like the streets in the boardroom, so let me just talk street. And then people who would highfalutin and say like, oh, well, you can't cuss like that. You can't do all that, whatever. But hold on, FEEZY.
Okay.
XQC said, you know, we got to stall a little bit. We've been stalling a little bit. Let's get to the Jasmine Crockett because we still got to get to the Diddy. Still got to get, no, we good. We good. I think we did a solid intro. Somebody asked, what have we accomplished? We're not in the bragging stage right now. Yeah, we're not in the bragging stage right now. Walks the walk. I do agree. Jasmine walks the walk and talks the talk. But sometimes we need you to pass the legislation. That's all I'm saying. I love my girl, though. I ain't got no beef with my girl. Let's get to her.
You know, I have my prepared remarks, and we're going to get to them at some point. But there was a lot that was said, including the fact that Delaney Hall is something that was opened up under Obama, and seemingly the mayor at the time did not have issues with Delaney Hall. I can tell you that there was a point in time in which Alcatraz was open as well, and there seemingly weren't any issues. The fact is, as the mayor of any city, I want to be clear that there is a duty, and that duty is to make sure that any and every building that is opened in that city is up to code. So just because something may have been up to code in 2008 doesn't mean that in 2025 that it was up to code. And there are those that should respect the authority of the city in which they are operating in. And somehow, during the later hours of last night, we saw that while the mayor had been unlawfully charged, those charges ended up being dropped. The mayor of the largest city in the state of New Jersey was charged with criminal trespass. Now, we have video footage, and I'm not gonna play it, but we have video footage of literally them opening the gate and then asking him to leave, and then he left. Therefore, there is no criminal trespass. But the reason that I bring it up is because this entire situation could have been avoided if people just would know their jobs and actually do their jobs.
Let me pause that real quick. Now, if you don't know, I believe it's New Jersey Mayor Baraka. He's running for governor up there, right?
Ross Baraka.
Yeah, that's it.
Baraka.
Oh, I got double audio. You right? Oh, I got you. So he showed up at an ICE facility, a mayor at a federal facility where congressional members were going to go tour. I haven't been on his side for this nonsense. You know why? What does a mayor have to do with a federal issue? You're not stopping nobody from getting deported. You're not doing nothing besides showing up to a rally, trying to be humane about it just so you can get in the press because you're running for governor. That's the type of stuff, like, even so the congresswoman coming to bring it up, yes, it's valid, but guess what? The reality of it is this, exactly what she's kind of alluded to, but she's going another route. You had no jurisdiction there. You had no jurisdiction there as a mayor for a federal issue. They let the congressional members in, not the mayor. So of course they bust him for trespassing because guess what? Yeah, we're going to set you up. You take one step, foot, bump, click, clack, and now you out of here. Oh, they arrested me. They dropped the charges because they don't want to make it a bigger issue. You didn't break into the building. You weren't supposed to be there in the first place. You're the mayor. Go back to fucking go back to City Hall. Go ahead. I don't know if you had anything in there, FEEZY.
Got arrested and all. Then they let him, I mean, I don't want to be the one to, I don't want to be that guy. But I was always told, no, there's no such thing as bad news. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah.
Is it a possibility that he did that for press purposes? Of course. Will it look great politically? Of course. Do I hope that he has higher ethical standards? Absolutely.
I do
but
too,
unfortunately, this is not the world we live in. Unfortunately, he could have been doing it for the likes, but you know, hopefully he didn't. Hopefully he did it for an actual righteous cause. To your point, Phil, he absolutely has nothing to do with this that whole situation, because at the end of the day, he can't do nothing for them. He can't even put in like a party. He can't even put in like a suggestion. Like there's nothing he can do because it literally has nothing to do with it.
Exactly. So even if and that's the thing where even these politicians try to confuse people and say, you know, it's in my city, they're paying taxes here, they know it's government, but they ain't paying no taxes. It's like, bruh, it's like, and I know law enforcement will get it. You the local police officer. You done caught a big drug bust. Then the DEA or the FBI step in. It is not your case no more, young man. Right? FBI step in. It is not your case. It's the same exact thing. You have no jurisdiction here. So that's
not jurisdiction.
None. Let's go, man.
Because the entire chaos that ensued, it ensued because of the unlawful detainment and arrest of the mayor in the first place. But let me get to my actual remarks. The Republicans have called today's hearing for one purpose: to help an administration that's already rooted in lawlessness and corruption execute their dangerous assault on American democracy. So in today's hearing, you'll hear them admonish their own congressional colleagues and excuse the behavior of the out-of-control, corrupt Trump administration. They're going to try to convince you that they're here to protect law and order and the rule of law. But they won't mention how the Trump administration is openly defying many of the 162 court rulings that have paused his illegal executive orders.
See that?
They won't talk about.
Oh, text.
Yeah.
I got you. I'll check. I'll get back to it.
How the president has called for the impeachment of judges who rule against him, or how they're allowing ICE agents to raid churches and elementary schools. They won't talk about how they're allowing Trump to purge the Department of Justice of employees who helped investigate the January 6th insurrectionists. They won't talk about how this administration is preparing to give $5 million to the family of Ashley Babbitt, who participated in said insurrection, because they don't actually care about law and order and the rule of law. They're here today for one reason: to forfeit their constitutional oversight responsibilities. But since I decided to bring up January 6th, let me run a tape to remind y'all of the difference of congressional oversight versus criminals.
We're here conducting an oversight visit, which we have the power to do as congressional members. Statutory.
You remember she just said the last little clip when they did side by side, they have the right as congressional members. The mayor is not a congressional member.
Authority, and so that is what we're here for, and we're waiting to
He just a homie.
He just a homie.
Just a homie, bro.
We will be your eyes and your ears.
He wasn't in your fight.
Report to you, Mayor.
You just hopped in because you was in the neighborhood.
It's interesting that one set of behavior somehow is going to get a family rich overnight. And the other folk that were there in that video, the members of Congress, well, they're saying arrest them. Let me remind you that those January 6ers have been pardoned. Let me remind you that yet another January 6er was just arrested a few days ago for committing what? Another crime. So if we're gonna talk about us keeping our streets safe, let's be real about who's causing crimes, who actually went through what we call due process, because no one denied the January 6th insurrectionists of their due process. They went to court, they either pled guilty or were found guilty, and they were sent to prison, and half of them, actually all of them, if their sentences said so, should still be in prison. Because we as Americans would be safer. We won't get into the fact that another one was already in trouble because they had already killed somebody. But I'll continue on. Right now, our Republican colleagues want to forfeit their constitutional oversight responsibilities. Let's talk about what's actually happening. In March, we learned that the Trump administration was dismantling the Department of Homeland Security's Office of Civil Rights and Civil Liberties, and terminating staff at the Office of the Citizenship and Immigration Services Ombudsman, and in the Office of Immigration Detention Ombudsman, because...
Is that a Gucci lapel that she got on? Is that a Gucci lapel pin with the diamond studs around it? Or am I tripping? You see it? Yeah, that's Gucci. All right, yeah. The chat see it. All right.
They are.
I'm not even gonna say what y'all thinking. I know what y'all thinking. The disconnect is real.
You quote, these offices have obstructed immigration enforcement and quote, undermined DHS's mission. The Office of Civil Rights and Civil Liberties investigates public complaints about possible violations of civil rights and civil liberties in DHS.
And I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it, chat. What I'm saying is it just gives. Take whatever you interpret it however you want, it gives. FEEZY, what you think? Don't you think that Gucci lapel pin gives? What does that Gucci lapel pin say to you?
Phil, are you talking?
Yeah, I'm talking. I'm talking all the time.
Oh, my bad. I think it's user error.
Oh.
It better be user error.
It's clean though.
Nah, Phil, I can't hear you.
You can hear me now? Hello? Mic check?
I can't hear you.
Hold on, chat. Got some more technical difficulties. Where is the room? Did I close the room? Hold on. I'm in the control room. You can't hear me still? Mic check. Hold on. I don't know why you can't hear me. What's this? Is this in wrong? I gotta get my... All right, you hear me now? Hold on. You hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, there we go. I just had to reset it. All right, we're good to go. Sorry about that, chat. Let me get back to chat. We'll get back to Crockett. I forgot. Oh, I was basically saying she got a Gucci lapel pin. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh, yeah, I've been looking at it the whole time.
Yeah, Gucci lapel with the diamonds.
Activities, including immigration enforcement and discrimination.
Sorry about
and
that,
in the
chat.
Immigration Detention Ombudsman's it is their primary responsibility to conduct oversight on conditions at immigration detention centers. So why would the Trump administration want to dismantle offices tasked with conducting oversight of immigration enforcement and detention facilities? The simple answer is, without them, there will be no internal oversight offices to assess the legality of the Trump administration's policies on immigration enforcement. So what have the results been?
Oh, wow.
Since Trump took office in January 20th, 9 detainees have died in ICE custody. In fact...
Shout out to chat.
What'd you say, bro?
I said, we got some comments. I was just looking at the comments.
Oh, I got you.
In Trump's first month in office, more detainees died in ICE custody than at any time since fiscal year 2020. Congressional Democrats have engaged in oversight activities of immigration facilities across the country, from Florida, where a 44-year-old Haitian woman died in ICE custody, to Newark, New Jersey, where 3 of our Democratic colleagues visited an immigration detention facility to ensure the humane treatment of detainees. This wasn't about going in and breaking nobody out, y'all, especially when there were cameras rolling everywhere. That's not what they were there to do. Now, in a breathtaking act of executive obstruction of congressional oversight and the unprecedented weaponization of the Department of Justice, we have an interim U.S. attorney for New Jersey who for years has argued in court that Donald Trump is above the law. She has announced criminal charges against Congresswoman McIver for, quote, impeding and interfering with law enforcement. However, our power as members of Congress to conduct oversight is found in the Constitution and federal law. In fact, federal law explicitly prohibits
Put no poll in the chat for y'all.
From, quote, preventing a member of Congress from entering for the purpose of conducting oversight any facility operated by or for the Department of Homeland Security used to detain or otherwise house aliens, or to make any temporary modification at any such facility that in any way alters what is observed by a visiting member of Congress. It is against the law. Full stop. Separately, the court has consistently held that the speech and debate clause of the Constitution protects individual members from prosecution for legislative acts, including, quote, fact-finding, field investigations, and information gathering. The court has consistently held that the primary purpose of the speech and debate clause is to, quote, prevent intimidation by the executive and before a possibly hostile judiciary. So let's call this for what it is. This administration is criminalizing legislative oversight, and the Republicans on this committee are helping them to do so. Rep. MacIver didn't engage in interference. It was ICE that engaged in interference while members of Congress attempted to conduct legitimate oversight of ICE facilities. Everyone, whether you are American or not, should be deeply disturbed and worried about Trump's abuse of power. They're attacking universities for teaching things they don't like. They're attacking law firms for representing clients that they don't like. This hearing and these charges are an attempt at political intimidation.
I'll tell you this. There's a lobbyist by the name of Brian Ballard who used to represent Politico and a couple other media companies. And there was a story that went out about 2 weeks ago about how he's lost his influence in Trump's White House. And mind you, Brian Ballard's been Trump's lobbyist since like 2010, early 2000s, if anything. Like he was his guy before he was president, and then helped him become president. And then after Trump won, you had corporations helping Brian Ballard basically learn how to be a federal lobbyist. Right? So cool. So the other day, I guess people put out a hit piece on Don Jr. They called Brian Ballard to the Capitol, to the White House, met with Susie Wiles, chief of staff, and they left that meeting and he fired 3 of his clients, all media companies. So it is happening in some aspects to where, you know what, if you want access to this White House, you better fire your client and hire somebody else. So it's not unheard of. Y'all can Google that. I appreciate you, Johnny 5. She's a puppet. I'm going to have this poll up for another 3 minutes for y'all. Let's get through this, and then we're going to get to the Diddy trial. I appreciate y'all patience.
The 3 members in Newark were exercising their constitutional duties to check an out-of-control executive branch. This entire situation happened because of the unjust arrest of Mayor Baraka.
He wasn't supposed to be there.
And not only were the members invited in and given a tour of the facility,
what I'm trying to tell you.
This was after they so-called had broken the law.
I'll be respectful. FEEZY, what you said earlier relates exactly to this, right?
Okay.
Because you see the conflated BS. You have members of Congress that are allowed to go inside the ICE facility. The mayor got arrested. So the mayor's not one of those members. So why are you sitting here painting the picture as if he was allowed to be there?
Painting the picture like, oh, he was treated wrong, but he wasn't supposed to be. He was the homeboy. He was the homeboy who tried to sneak in with you at the club and hope that the bouncer don't see. Oh, dang. I can't come in. Why I can't come in? Because you ain't paid. You ain't got the invite.
Oh, remember, no bull. That first year we went to FAMU, we went to Chubby's, and I couldn't get in because I was 17. So we had to ride back. We went back to the dorm, and they had to come out to the let out. Hey, no, true story, y'all. True story.
You did come back to the let out. That's
right.
Great.
So I was 17. So I started college. The first week of college, I turned 18. But it was the week before, everybody partying. We going to the club. Boom. I get to the door. Oh, you shouldn't be no problem. Show a student ID. Oh, wait, ID. Okay, ID. No, you 17, bro. Come back next week. All the homies went inside the club. So basically, it's like I was the mayor of Newark. Like, bro, if you step 1 foot in here, bitch, you getting arrested. No minors in the club, bitch. What? Then you know,
Mayor Ross Baraka.
Right. You know, so basically it's there, but yeah, he had no, and she's this is the poverty pimping shit I be talking about. Now, I ain't gonna name a girl a poverty pimp, but this is the shit I be talking about because what you're going off is people's ignorance, just like Trump be doing about when he say Africa, but he's not, like he even said earlier, bro, like Africa's a country. Africa's a continent.
Never heard poverty pimp. I ain't never heard that before.
But I mean, for real, if you know the facts, don't tell people bullshit. Right? That's and I'm not calling her that, but don't tell people bullshit. It's like, the mayor ain't have no right to be there. So stop saying that, because the average person doesn't think there's a difference. That's the issue. Let's go, man. I need that. Don't clip it up and say I call my girl a poverty pimp, but she pimping. She pimping right now. She pimping right now.
Pimp hard.
She pimping right now.
That's my little boo too. I look, he got a crush on her. That's my little boo too. But you know.
Yeah. It's because it's there. It's just like, you know what? You fine and all, but I don't need my boo viral every day. Let's get back to it though. We still got to get to the Diddy trial.
Now, I don't know about y'all, but where I'm from in Texas, I can tell you that I'm not used to having law enforcement see a crime happen right in front of their faces and then say, never mind, we'll just go about our business. In fact, why don't you go ahead and come on in? Come on in, we gonna do this tour because, oops, we did make a mistake because technically by law, we are supposed to allow you in. And wait a minute, while you're here, do y'all want something to drink? We got refreshments for you as well. And then after you conduct this oversight, and you actually gave a clean bill of health because you were never there to disrupt, you were always there to do your duty. They came out and they said everything looks good. And then it wasn't at that moment that they decided to arrest members. It wasn't the next day. In fact, even as I sit here today, no member has been arrested. Now you tell me how many times you can see the robber go in the bank, steal the money, and then they say, well, never mind, we'll think about this later. That is what you call politicizing. And that is what we are here to talk about is wrong.
You didn't grow up in Texas, y'all?
We got a few other issues with ICE right now, so I'm gonna get to them in a second.
Didi, where she grew up, dog? A Big Red.
The DOJ, as I said already, has already dropped the charges against the mayor. Look, they're coming after everyone who uses their constitutional rights and duties to speak truth to power. The press, the courts, and now members of Congress. And to be perfectly honest, I had my team do the research. Under no other president, Democrat or Republican, can we find an incident where they have tried to arrest members of Congress.
What happened? I thought you said something.
This is absolutely absurd that they were out there simply doing their duty. We have never seen ICE act in this way. In fact, it's not less oversight that we need right now. It's
Wait a minute, we have seen ICE acting this way, bro. Y'all forget when they had the Haitian immigrants at the Texas border 3 years ago, and they was riding a horse, and the ICE agents had the horse, and they was whipping them Haitian. You remember that, FEEZY?
No, but I'm about to look it up.
Yeah, no. I see Jasmine Crockett. She tripping right now. I'm gonna pull it up. Hold on. Haitian immigrants, Texas border. Because I know the image is there. This was Biden White House.
Whip.
This was a Biden White House. Hold on, y'all don't see it on the stream yet.
Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, hold on, stream. Hold on, chat.
Shit, yeah. And they slid this shit right up under the rug too.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta make this.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They slid this stuff right up under the rug too.
Yeah, these are ICE agents.
Yeah, this was real massive.
These are the same agents.
This was real massive. This was real massive.
And the thing about it, people don't even know these were Haitian immigrants at the Texas border, and a lot of them probably went to Brazil and walked through South America to the border. And then they got met with this. So border agents, ICE agents, DHS, they all the same. Homeland Security, they all the same. They all the same. I didn't know Crockett was born in St. Louis. It makes sense. She does got kind of that Louisville lunatics. What was the chicken head shit? Yeah, she looked like FEEZY hitting it. Y'all, yeah, she was on that. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I can't vibe with her on that one.
More. In fact, I'm going to tell you. Actually, I'm not going to tell you. I can show you better than I can tell you.
No. You said she know Chingy. You said she know Chingy. I like it when you do that right there.
Shocking video showing the moment ICE agents smashed a car window and.
I don't care, bro. This is worse than anything they're doing right there. Because look, this man got.
Bro, he got to go plates, bro. He brought to go plates and he still got whooped, bro. That's messed up.
You feel me?
That's messed up, bro.
So
all he want to do is eat, bro.
Exactly.
And he got whipped.
And so I'm not buying that. I'm not gonna go with the poverty pimping shit of this.
Removed a man in New
Right?
Bedford.
I'm not saying this is right.
Juan Francisco Mendez
right.
has
But
no
this isn't this. We've seen this before, and this is U.S. Border Patrol, ICE. They all the same. We've seen these people act this way to get people out of this country. So that's the part. But you know what? I'm not gonna stick here too long. You know what we came here for?
This is what Ivy League universities you can get into with a 3.6 GPA.
Midnight vibes. Hold on, but before we go there, can we get a check-in? Can we do a check-in?
Yeah. We gotta do a check-in. We passed 1 o'clock hour. That's why I got to switch over. I told people 1 o'clock. I'm 6 minutes late.
1 o'clock, midnight vibes. Midnight vibes.
Listen.
Check in. Where you from? Where you at? Let us know. We got any South Floridas. We got any Floridians. We got any ATLians. We got any international.
Yeah. Let us know where you tapping in from. Some people did say Cali. I know California's in the building. LA's in the building. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. We got Atlanta in the place to be today. We got Texas in the building.
And I want to tap on the city of Atlanta, kind of how you spoke on earlier about how when you worked in politics and you heard people get cussed out. I didn't realize that was a real thing till I moved up here and I started working with the city of Atlanta. Let me tell you something. All of them act like they
Duval in the building, South Carolina in the building.
All of them act like they James St. Patrick. You feel me? All of them.
Shelby County, Memphis, Tennessee. My bad, FEEZY. I'm listening.
Nah, man, you good, man. Shout out to y'all, man.
Ohio.
Shout out to Memphis, Tennessee, man. I got a cousin cousins that's from Memphis, man. They went to Kirby High School. Shout out to Kirby High School.
They're in Nashville now, though. You know, good old Naptown, Jamaica. Big up Jamaica.
You feel me? You know,
San Bernardino, Dallas.
Shout out to Dallas.
Jasmine is a rep for Texas, yeah.
Absolutely. Shout out to you, Gwen. Shout out to Memphis.
Go ahead, FEEZY. I'm gonna do the shout out to the end. Go ahead, my bad.
Oh no, you good. Do your thing. Handle your biz.
Yeah, more than anything, I want to thank y'all for tapping in for the stream. I am your boy, the hip hop lobbyist, and I'm gonna be real with you. I got a video I'm about to post probably next week. How I monetized my YouTube channel in 2 weeks. Now I'll be real. April 6th, I had 300 subscribers here, right? I started live streaming vertically, putting it out there, and we've grown over 1,500 subscribers in about 2 or 3 weeks. Now, mind you, I haven't been consistent.
Stop. Clap it up. 1,500 subscribers, man. We made a good. We had a benchmark. We making more, man. Clap it up. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please send this to all your friends, all your cousins, all your relatives, all your enemies, all your coworkers, all your kids' parents, all your kids' teachers. Please send this and share, man. We got a lot that we need to talk to people about, man. So please share this, man. Get this out. You know, we want to make sure we keep reaching these milestones, man. So we want to thank y'all for celebrating with us for 1,500, man. And we're going to keep it on pushing.
That's right. And somebody told us to make sure we keep it on top, and they love them to dance too. All right, let's make it happen. But to the most part, appreciate y'all tapping in. Now, if you don't know the first time here, I am the hip hop lobbyist. I am a professional lobbyist in the state of Florida. If you don't know what a lobbyist is, I'm like a sports agent for politicians. And I'm not going to get into my credentials because I almost do that every stream. So we're not going to talk about my achievements in politics tonight. We're going to talk about the Diddy trial. And we got my homie FEEZY the Great live from Atlanta in this bit tonight. So anyway, we're here. You're here. It's about 1 a.m. Let's catch up on the Diddy trial because it's a RICO, not conviction, it's a RICO accusation, but they've been talking about some freak shit. So either way, let's get into this. It's your boy FEEZY the Great. Let's catch up on the Diddy trial. And we're watching this from the Law and Crime Network. So let's see what they got to say. Let's tap in.
Of Sean Diddy Combs' federal sex trafficking trial delivered some more explosive testimony. His former executive assistant took the stand, alleging he picked up drugs for Combs, set up hotel rooms with supplies, endured constant threats, and we found out what federal authorities found in Diddy's mansion. We've got all the explosive details from inside the courtroom. We're going to be talking with Law and Crimes reporter Elizabeth Milner to break it all down. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Hey everybody, this is another Law and Crime legal alert. If you received Depo-Provera birth control shots and were later diagnosed with a brain or...
We're not doing that. We're not watching somebody else's advertisement on my stream.
How much should good car insurance cost you a month?
$80, $120. Nope.
The trial of Sean Diddy Combs took yet even more explosive turns today. Day 8, as his former executive assistant George Kaplan took the stand, revealing some stunning details about alleged drug pickups, secret hotel room setups, more alleged threats to employees. Meanwhile, prosecutors, they teased a major witness.
I'm gonna drop a freestyle that I've been working on. I'm gonna do a freestyle thanking y'all, the guests.
When we hit 2,000 subs, you gonna freestyle?
2,000 subs, I'm gonna freestyle, baby. Fresh out the
fresh out the
booth.
All right. So yo, I don't know where we at right now, but let's try to get to 2,000 before we wrap up, man. We got a little ways to go. Can we get to 2,000 before the stream's over, y'all? Make sure y'all like and share the stream.
We can do this.
Subscribe if you like that.
Thank y'all for liking it too, man. I see y'all. I see y'all like that liking these streams, man. I see y'all like that liking the stream. I appreciate it.
And I see y'all keep the chat popping. Every time I keep the chat popping, I want to shout out everybody keeping it, especially my man moderating Johnny 5. I see you out here, my boy. I haven't been able to watch every comment, but I see it's popping. Y'all don't get too disrespectful, which is always good. Great conversation, but yeah, appreciate y'all tapping. And make sure you like and subscribe and share. Just in case. I'm not asking for contributions. I'm not asking for donations. I'm just asking you to support the page by subscribing. Thank you for being here with your boy.
None other than rapper Kid Cudi. He's had quite the past with Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassandra Ventura, allegations of arson, right? Talking about a blown-up car. But first, Kaplan. So the last witness to take the stand today, his testimony painted a picture of Combs as this demanding boss who allegedly used his assistant to procure drugs, set up hotel rooms with supplies, even repeatedly threatened his job. We're going to get into all that. We're going to get into a lot more. But for this, I'm not going to do it alone. I'm going to bring on right now Long Crimes reporter Elizabeth Milner, who's been inside that courtroom in the Southern District of New York for every second of the testimony, including for today. Elizabeth, great to see you. So I want to start off with what's perhaps the most shocking claim. You have Diddy's former assistant, this is George Kaplan, former executive assistant. He testified
Diddy, I appreciate that, man.
Picked up.
Hold on. I gotta stop this for a second. Diddy said he subscribed, even though we're Democrats. Now that's love. That's love, Diddy. Because I know most conservatives don't even want, or Republic, they don't want to hear what we got to say. But I appreciate you anyway, my boy. Let's go.
And we do, man. Hey, we appreciate you, man. Listen, we appreciate it. Just know we're here. We're here because of you. So thank you.
That's it. Let's get back to it, y'all. Let's get to the Diddy trial. We finally get into the juice.
Drugs for Diddy. Can you tell us what exactly he said about that? Because again, this is important for the racketeering charge. If we're talking about Combs operating a criminal enterprise and he was using his assistants and his bodyguards to further criminal activity or provide supplies for criminal activity and cover it up, these are the people you want to hear about. So what exactly did he say about picking up drugs for Diddy?
Exactly, Didi.
Well, absolutely, Jesse. And you know what? I'm just going to kind of tell you and take it a little bit back just 2 hours earlier, just because outside of the presence of the jury, so right while Dr. Hughes was testifying, they were dismissed for lunch. Then we had this moment again outside of the presence of the jury where we were first introduced to George Kaplan.
Thanks, Sonny. I'll take that in. I'm going to think of a question for you.
Obviously, the prosecution and both the defense were, we see George Kaplan taking the stand, and we're like, okay, what's about to happen? Well, let me just tell you, Jesse, he invoked his Fifth Amendment right of self-incrimination outside of the presence of the jury, and in exchange for that, he was actually given a court-ordered immunity deal, which is why maybe he's being so forthcoming about just all the everything that he had to do as far as responsibility goes while he was on the job and under the employment of Diddy for that 2-year time period. And so whenever he got on the stand again, George Kaplan, for the most part, he is kind of medium built, a little stocky. And when I had noticed him taking the stand outside of the presence of the jury, I saw him and Diddy kind of look at each other. George Kaplan.
I ain't gonna hold you, bro. This looked like a dope piece of art for real.
Look, the artist over there cooking for real. I ain't gonna hold you. I wasn't gonna say nothing because you know this is inappropriate. But
yeah, like this could be a good piece in a library, a nook, even the bathroom. If you're taking a poop, it's like, oh, gotta concentrate. I shouldn't have ate that pizza last night. I'm lactose intolerant, right? this could be actually a great piece of art in somebody's home.
Hey, real quick, can we take a moment? Shout out to the lactose intolerant, man. We appreciate you being up.
Hey, man, if you lactose intolerant, man, hey, gang, throw your L's up. If you lactose intolerant, throw your L's up, man. Because you already know it's good going in, it's bad coming out. But it's okay. Yeah. We ain't going nowhere. Ice cream gang, pizza gang. We ain't supposed to eat it, but we still gonna do it, man. That's what we doing, man.
Shout out to everybody who up late night eating ice cream, knowing they ain't supposed to be eating ice cream. Hey, but we appreciate you for eating and watching and rocking with us, you know.
Lactose, you know, that's what gangsters do, the YNs do. You gotta. Yeah, that's it. All right.
And smiled at him. Diddy smiled back, and so there seemed like familiarity about him to him. So when he announced himself as a former executive assistant of Diddy and working for the Combs enterprise per se, then I was like, okay, he's another staff member, because sometimes you just never know who these people are and who's going to be testifying in this trial. And so as far as George Kaplan,
St. Louis in the house.
Questioned by Maureen Comey. So he used to actually work at Nickelodeon for about a 7-month period, and then he moved over to the Combs Enterprise in December of 2013.
Appreciate you, Sonny.
For Diddy's company, and this was a holding company, that being Combs Enterprise, and he said it was essentially a holding company that oversees all of Diddy's other companies, which includes liquor and lifestyle, television, even clothing. And
how to kill all mosquitoes in the area in just
I'm
minutes.
Gonna pay for the YouTube,
this simple
y'all.
but brilliant trick you can do tonight to
I ain't even
eliminate
gonna
all
hold you.
mosquitoes.
I seen the thing that I get like a 7-day trial of YouTube with no ads, Bill. We gonna be streaming a whole week. I promise y'all.
Presume he means the Sean John line, but he worked under this Combs Enterprise, that he calls it, from December of 2013 to December of 2015. So he says initially for a 10-month period, he was actually hired as an executive assistant.
Is that a nigga call me Big Daddy?
So Phil, is this
operating officer, and
so
that
what?
again was
What
about
you
a
got?
10-month
What
period.
you got? Free YouTube? What is it?
Say what?
What you got? Free YouTube?
Yeah. I just got a regular YouTube, the YouTube.com.
Oh, my brother, I got YouTube Premium, my brother. Let me see if I can add you, my brother.
Oh, my brother, you not just adding me, you adding the stream, baby. So we ain't gotta watch no ads.
Teamwork make the dream work.
Cause listen, we done monetize the page. The only ads I want y'all to see are my ads that run. And guess what? I put it on moderate. So even if you're here for an hour, you probably only gonna get a couple ads. Help build the page and the channel, man. But stick with your boy. Let's go, man. You right.
All real.
You right.
Afterwards, he his next role at his next role at the job was an executive assistant to the chairman. Now, who was the chairman? That being none other than Sean Combs himself. And so that promotion happened in September of 2014. He said one of the people that he reported to was Christina Coram, who he calls KK, who Cassie has called KK, and who other staff members who have also testified also refer to her as KK. And so he said that he had, for the most part, worked at Diddy's LA home, and this is the one on 200 Mapleton over in Los Angeles. He said his responsibilities included carrying bags of clothes, medicine, food, computers, iPads. He organized Diddy's home so that way things would be up in top shape for the chairman, and that's who his boss was essentially. He said his responsibilities changed after Diddy pretty much started trusting George a little bit more, and that's when he would be working with Diddy at the studio. He'd be working very long hours into the night sometimes after those studio sessions. He would set up hotel rooms where you can kind of see me leading to where I'm going next. But as far as just his work overall, he said sometimes he would be working 80 to 100 hours per week. Now, mind you, the normal hours for us regular folks is just about 40 hours per week and maybe some overtime here and there. But for George Kaplan, he described pretty much working essentially sometimes 24/7. And so he says the day normally started around 9:30 in the morning, but sometimes they would go as long as 6 or 7 a.m. And he said that, again, some of his responsibilities were just making sure that Diddy had everything ready to use. Those include unpacking the bags, bringing him car chargers ready to go, and grabbing him food. And he said he had other assistants, so it wasn't just George Kaplan working as an assistant. There were 4 other assistants as well too. But as far as just kind of the hotel rooms, and that's kind of where I was leading up to a little bit, his duties included unpacking hotel bags, and those included clothes, those included speakers, they included other things like candles, liquor, baby oil, and even Astroglide. And so as far as who bought the supplies, George said that he did buy these supplies. He used a corporate credit card, and he said he needed a little more than an hour to essentially set up this room. And he was instructed to do so either by Christina Coram or he was instructed to do so by Diddy himself. So he said that he set up hotel rooms in Los Angeles and New York and Miami. He mentioned that he set up a hotel here in Trump Hotel and here in New York City. He set up a hotel.
Trump Hotel.
Let's not act like rappers. Let's not act like rappers wasn't repping Trump before he got on his bullshit, his bull crap.
You right. My thing is, do you think they have any tapes from the Trump facilities like they released the Cassie video?
But Trump banged with Diddy, if I'm not mistaken.
Listen, the way they say Diddy was watching Cassie get banged out. What if Trump was one of the escorts?
What if Trump was one of the attendees to the party in general?
Right. What if
they already said Prince Harry was there, so if Prince Harry was there, you ain't gonna tell me Trump was there.
Now, what if y'all talk? I haven't seen it yet. Talking about nut nipples.
Nah, we passed the nut nipples. We on to the Punisher.
Oh, okay.
Punisher.
I recorded this and sent it to the right people. Defamation is real. You might want to be careful. I mean,
defamation about what?
What do we do? They ain't losing no money from us. Speaking of your opinion is one thing. Did he like Trump pissing on him? No, I'm not saying none of it happened. Trump ain't losing no money from this commentary. Diddy ain't losing. Diddy losing money because of the RICO and the baby oil.
How do we get here?
The main thing about defamation is not just saying something about somebody. There has to be a financial hit. So if you say what?
Who said something about who said something about defamation?
Sandra said that she submitted it for defamation. We're gonna be in trouble. Man, listen.
Submitted what for defamation?
I don't even know. Probably whoever. It's a troll. These trolls on. I'm entertaining trolls.
Well, either way, thank you. We appreciate you and your support.
Yeah. We ain't worried about that. Let's get back to this, man, because I'm reading too much of the chat.
Room at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles, a hotel that feels like we're very familiar with at this point, as well as other hotels too. And he said these hotels were booked under the name Frank Black, and he says that was actually in reference to Biggie, who kind of sometimes used the pseudonym of Frank White. And so I thought that was kind of an interesting tidbit over there. But as far as these hotel stays, he said Diddy would stay in these hotels anywhere from 12 hours to days on end, and then afterwards he would clean up everything, and those included cleaning up empty bottles of liquor, empty bottles of water, empty bottles of, you might guessed it, baby oil. He says that he came across a brown crystallized powder in the sink one time. He said he would have to clean up this hotel room afterwards, as opposed to having the hotel staff or the maids clean it up, because it was important to protect Diddy, and his public image was very important for him. He says that he would see hotels essentially selling photos of high-profile guests who would stay at those hotels to newspapers, and then it would be a whole thing of just this information getting out. And so that was kind of his role as far as setting up these hotels. But as far as some of the drugs that he procured for Diddy, it was kind of a little of a long list, as far as just kind of, there are times that he would get Molly for Diddy or MDMA for him. But as far as just kind of how those logistics works, Jesse, that I felt like was an interesting point as well too.
You know what's in your cheap protein powder? Well, here to tell us is all-natural fitness athlete Paul Skar.
All right, let's see what we've got. Yeah, it's really illuminating, to say the least, and again, trying to tie it to the racketeering charge. He also mentioned something about how in 2015, Diddy apparently hired more security, right? What changed after that?
So it wasn't necessarily clear what the big change was. I think that's where we were kind of leading to, or at least that they were going to circle back on during his direct testimony, which will still continue on into tomorrow. But as far as just his mention of security, he said when he had first started working with Diddy and for Combs Enterprise, that he had worked, that security members included D-Rock, they included Paul, who we know to be Uncle Paulie, and they included Rue, which we know to be a security guard named Ruben. But he said around the time that he was leaving his job position mentioned that they ended up having licensed security guards around the 2015 timeframe. And so again, they didn't go into more details about why that switch was made, but as far as just how the new security compared to the old security, he essentially said that the new security were more professional, they were more polished, they had more training to them. And I think that was an interesting point that he had made, especially since when we had heard from David James on the witness stand, he had mentioned that some of the security guards would bring over women to Diddy's home and that type of thing. But again, as far as the reason why the switch up of the security happened, we haven't gotten there just yet, but I assume that that'll definitely be asked during testimony tomorrow.
And I understand he also
a glass of Merlot or Merlot.
What? They weren't drinking that Merlot?
Late night wine sip, you know.
Talked about
sippy.
You know, just a little bit for the people.
Threatening him or allegedly threatening him. What did he say?
Hey, who? Let's
ask the chat. Those threats would go on sometimes months.
What'd you say?
I said, let's ask the chat, man. Chat, y'all sipping on something tonight? Can we say that? Are we gonna get demonetized for saying that?
Yeah. I don't think it's YouTube, so y'all could put in the chat. Y'all drinking water, juice, wine, Hennessy?
Y'all sipping on water, Kool-Aid, Tang, Minute Maid, Simply Lemonade, Simply Peach.
They about to get freaky. Just chilled red wine. It was in the my cooler. Yeah, you know, why I put it in there? That's what it is. So it's chilled. I know exactly. But then again, if it was hot right now, I'd be fucked up.
What?
So I'm gonna drink it. I'm gonna drink it for what it is. It could be a beer, cold beer. We got cold beer in the house.
Cold beer.
I'm talking about like a Budweiser or a Corona.
Strawberry lemonade. Shout out to McDonald's sweet tea. You know. Shout out to Kool-Aid.
Water. We got water. Tapping in beer and some bubonic chronic. Okay.
We got some. Okay.
I ran out of my bubonic chronic, but I can't talk about that on YouTube because I'm monetized.
I'm gonna say I don't think we can say that though, right?
Yeah. I don't think we can say that. Water, dust.
Hey, shout out to the water, man. Shout out to you, the troll.
Mexican drink Budweiser. Water.
Hey, man, shout out to
lemon water Gatorade.
Shout out to Smart Water.
You know.
Shout out to Alkaline Water. Shout out to Public Spring Water.
And if I find out,
Callaway water, throw your C's up. Callaway water, throw your C's up.
If I find out I can't drink wine on the stream, if they demonetize this video, I won't drink wine again, y'all. I promise. But I know one thing I won't be drinking. Whatever the hell Diddy was drinking before these freak offs.
Diddy juice.
Monthly, he said that Diddy had told them that he only wanted to be surrounded by the best, and that sometimes he would appear angry when he would say something like this, but also that he would appear motivational when saying this type of thing. But as far as even just some of the threats, one of the threats were even made while George
the person who this
Kaplan
case is about, we're defaming.
Say what, Fezz?
No, I'm saying they talking about some defamation against who? Diddy, the person who this case is about, the horrible person that you keep hearing every day. That it's like every day you hear he's done something worse. It's like, oh, he can't do nothing this bad. Then you find out, oh, he actually can do even worse than that. And then you be like, damn, how worse can it get? And then the next day come, you be like, oh, it got worse. Like, dog, like this man was horrible. Like this man was beyond horrible. This man was like diabolical. You know how people use the word diabolical and they just use it to be extra? No, when in the dictionary, if you look at diabolical, Diddy picture is probably there. Like Diddy, dog. We don't even have to go to the Cassie stuff. We can just go to how he was torturing and tormenting people. We watched it in front of our own eyes, Phil. This man made them people walk to get that cheesecake. Who does that?
Yeah.
This man, bro, dog, this man been diabolical in our face all these years. And we just laughed and haha, kiki. He was on the band, what's the word? Harassing people. He was on the band, like tormenting people. And we just, haha, oh, he's such a hard ass. I mean, he's such a hard, CEO. Man, this man was crazy.
Right. Yeah, Johnny 5, you're right. It's not defamation because the main thing about defamation, because people love throwing it out there. And I'm no lawyer, but I'm gonna tell you this for the stream, right? You gotta lose some money Hey, Layla, appreciate you, man. Make sure you like, subscribe. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Do I want to show JT? I'll show that at the end. There has to be, you have to lose money for it to be defamation. That's kind of what this Drake Kendrick thing is about, right? Y'all basically said he was a pedophile. Now he losing money, so they try to defame him. So, you know, it's just go to that trial if you want an example to be real. But hey, Aloha Kitty, man, how you doing tonight? Hey, thanks for tapping in.
Are they gonna demonetize us for drinking public stream water on the stream?
No, we shouldn't be demonetized for that. We should be good. But you see my dog getting his gallon in, but let's get back to it.
Something that Diddy wanted this alkaline water, and so what George did was he combined half a gallon of alkaline water and another half gallon of alkaline water and then put it together to make that 1 gallon, and Diddy didn't necessarily like that. And so that was another instance that he remembered about Diddy just threatening his job essentially over fancy water.
I want to circle back about the drugs because drugs are important in this case. On one hand, prosecutors say that the drugs were used to keep victims compliant. On the other hand, possession of drugs with intent to distribute is one of the underlying predicate crimes that the prosecution can prove in order to get to the racketeering charge. What did he say about picking up the drugs, purchasing the drugs? How did that all work out?
Didn't even get an answer.
All right, face it. Your life is a complete mess right now.
What's up with these ads every 10 seconds on this channel?
Yeah, it seems like drugs are kind of like a common theme, especially that the prosecution's trying to lay out, that there was just drugs essentially every day in Diddy's life. It seems that's where the prosecution is kind of going with this. But as far as George Kaplan is concerned, he said that he did pick up MDMA for Diddy after being asked to by Diddy himself. He said this instance happened, or this particular incident that he recalled happened in Miami. Diddy asked him to
Thank you, Layla.
Diddy gave him the number, I guess, of the respective.
They're going in about liberal. I'm gonna just turn this down. They're going in about liberal defamation. If I say something on my stream with 1,500 subscribers, you think my little thing is gonna pause? You think my little channel is gonna really get to a point they're going to come? Oh, he defamed me. Come on, bro. Like, at least people love throwing defamation and libel out there, or the defamation out there. Know what it actually is. Just being for real. But I appreciate everybody who's clarifying this in the chat.
More and more kind of layers of just, I guess, whatever his testimony is expected to be tomorrow.
People are miserable, bro.
Yeah, so definitely an important witness in this case. And the reason I started with him at the
All right,
end
Layla, appreciate you. Have a good night.
Kind of the newest testimony
good night, Layla.
that I'm hearing, but it
Appreciate
doesn't
you.
disregard what we heard
Thanks for coming to the Midnight Vibes.
today. Because somebody that
Yeah,
I
I see that,
actually
Johnny.
dedicated a sidebar episode to, somebody who I think is going to be critical for this case, is a forensic psychologist who testified about essentially one of the main questions in this case. If Cassandra Ventura claims that she was a victim of Diddy's abuse for years, why didn't she leave? Why did she agree to freak-offs? Why did she seemingly set them up? Why was she encouraging them? Was she really? Was she really? Was it actually a lack of consent? Are we talking about complicated psychological issues? Why? Because we heard the testimony of Dr. Dawn Hughes. So, by the way, she had testified in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, this board-certified forensic and clinical psychologist. She testified on behalf of Amber Heard back in that 2022 defamation trial. Elizabeth, she took the stand for the prosecution. Important witness to explain Cassandra Ventura's behavior, even though she didn't directly examine her, my understanding is. But she made some key points about why somebody like her would possibly stay in a relationship if it was truly toxic and it was truly abusive. And to basically say to the jury, she is potentially a victim of sex trafficking. What insights do you have about Dr. Dawn Hughes?
Yeah, well, one thing about Dr. Dawn Hughes is when she was on the witness stand. Now, Jesse, I'm someone who talks really, really fast. I know that. My mom has even told me about that. But Dr. Hughes, when she was on the stand, she was probably talking faster than I am talking to you right now. She goes so fast that sometimes I'm just like writing everything down and that stuff. But she goes so fast. And so as far as just some of the key points of her testimony, you know, the question always remains, and it's a question we ourselves get sometimes when we're doing stories outside of this coverage, just about why victims of domestic violence and why victims of sexual abuse stay with the partner.
Oh, that's on them, that ain't on us.
Out in a way that I think was maybe very helpful to the jury, but it also came with kind of this giant caveat that she wasn't allowed to say certain words like coercive control, something that was agreed upon even prior to trial beginning. And so as far as just some of the testimony that she gave while under direct, she was talking just about physical abuse, where the normal reaction when somebody hits us or when
I hate to say this, to be real, FEEZY. I don't want to pause it because we did discuss this the other night, but they're trying to make it, maybe it's this reporter, and I have a problem with law and crime, but they're making it more about Cassie than it is about Rico. And this isn't domestic violence. This isn't. So we've seen the video, but the media narrative is pushing so much of Cassie's testimony, and they've already settled. Technically, she's only testifying for the government. So y'all need to make the Ricos hit, and I don't see how it hits when you only talking about sexual acts. And I'm not saying I want Diddy off, but the way this case is being built, it honestly makes me think that sometimes the federal government will sue somebody in hoping that they don't have the money to make, you know what I'm saying, to make the case so they can make them go, you got to plead, you ain't got no cash. But this is like, bro, y'all charges, man, y'all got to prove it's a RICO, but y'all not proving RICO, you just proving they get free. But like we said the other day, they could be building their case out to make it to a point, because I think Cassie's mom testified about $20,000 that Diddy was had to release, or was gonna release a sex tape. I think I lost my dog. Hold on, let me check. Hey, Nicholas. Give me 1 second, see if the dog's still in the studio. No, he dropped. His laptop may have died. So what I'm gonna do is, we know how to adjust. When my dog get back, oh, he's back. Okay, hold on, my dog back. He probably had a phone call. Hold on, I can't hear you.
It didn't die, but I need to plug it up. So that's what I'm doing.
I got you. Take your time, bro.
BRB chat. I was trying to do it slick. So, but when I heard you was talking about, hold up, wait.
Hey, I had to look at the technical difficulty. Like, where my dog at?
Right. I got you.
No, I'm gonna go ahead and play this. That'll give you time. We'll be good to go. I got you.
Yeah.
Yep.
A victim is hit is just fear, and it's really hard to kind of break that pattern. She talked about psychological abuse, where it's all about threatening physical violence, and you're kind of walking on eggshells, and those symptoms included depression and PTSD and anxiety. She talked about sexual abuse and how a lot of people don't necessarily disclose sexual abuse because it's a private harm. It can be hard to kind of talk about these types of things, because even just think about just the reaction to when Cassie Ventura, and again, she never—
Yeah, that's her mic is horrible on their side. They forgot to do that, so my bad, chat. I'll get a better stream for y'all for this update.
As a blind witness, so somebody who didn't evaluate Cassie or any of the witnesses in this case. She didn't evaluate Diddy, the defendant in this case. But as far as just the reaction, because when we go back to November of 2023, when Cassie had first filed her lawsuit, just the reaction from it was, why did you stay with him so long? Why did you do all these activities with Diddy? Why did you stay with him knowing that he'd beat you? Just all these questions of why. So Dr. Hughes, again, I think did a great job on kind of breaking it down during the direct testimony, as far as even in instances of emotional abuse, where someone belittles them, demeans them, and puts down their partner. If you can't talk about kind of what's happening with other people just out of fear or anything like that, how can you go and try to get help? Because you might be embarrassed or ashamed just of everything that you're going through. And so
abuse is a real thing, man.
Talk about these things. She brought up another point where she was discussing just the financial aspect of everything, where she said that sometimes people need tangible reasons to leave. So how do you leave someone if you don't have access to tangible resources such as money or an apartment? When asked as far as why victims do come back to their perpetrators or their abusers, she said it's because some—
Give me all your love.
Bruh. Get out of here. What kind of random ass commercials they run on this feed?
Right. You don't get you.
Right.
Start out at a place of love, and the person who wants that love back will just continue going back to the person who inflicted possibly violence on them, abuse on them, just because they always are remembering that person that they first fell in love with. She said that—
Well, dog dropping this Arabic in here, boy. I gotta translate that, my boy.
because these acts just get so humiliating too that they're scared to talk about it out of fear. So they end up going back to their abusers, where essentially this is kind of common. And as far as just the trauma bond, that a lot of people feel hopelessness. They have a fear of leaving their partner and even just trying to leave. We talk about
JT
this
funny,
all the
man.
time at Law and Crime.
That's
where it
Arabic,
takes
my boy.
More than one time for somebody to try to leave. It takes multiple attempts for people to try to leave because there's so many obstacles, such as fear of retaliation, that their lives could be in danger, and that more often again than not, victims end up returning again to their abusers, to their perpetrators, because they return for that love. They return for that good version of the partner that they fell in love with
that's
initially.
Arabic, Johnny. I had to translate it the other night.
Cassie was talking about while on the stand, but it's not even just isolated to Cassie, right? Again, this is something that's very common that we talk about throughout our society, just about believing victims that go through these types of things. And just as far as the question of why, I
Let's be respectful in the chat, y'all. I get it. It's an international piece. People all over the world on the chat
I
tonight.
think that this case could rise and fall.
Man,
with
look,
testimony.
man, y'all don't even act
Because-
like
and
that
by the way, I
tonight,
know that
man.
the
Chat,
prosecution,
hey
the
man,
defense is going to call
if
their
you,
own
if
expert.
you international, man,
hold on.
if you international, tap in. Where you coming from, international, man? We all unified in here, man.
Well, it's because we end up having people who write Arabic. I thought it was Hebrew until 2 days ago, and there's no real translation with the Arabic. So it's like I actually want to know what it says, but then I don't know where they are in the world either. Because even when I translate it, it doesn't say what y'all think it may say. Like I translated one, it says Wali Kawif Khalif Hussein Musa Wali Kawif, and it just says it over and over. And I'm like, I know this ain't what they just wrote for real.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's get back.
International. Where y'all at, man? Tap in. Where y'all coming from?
Yeah,
out the country.
it's about 1:42 a.m. on the East Coast. What time is it in your city right now? Just let us know. Just put the time in the chat, if anything. Appreciate y'all. Let's get back to this.
think that back and forth with the jury, trying to understand and make sense of Cassandra Ventura's testimony versus her text messages versus her, allegedly staying in this relationship for.
You good, Pat? How you doing? Welcome to the stream.
Down to if they believe Dr. Dawn.
Thank y'all for
Hughes,
tapping
which brings
in.
me to my central question here: how was the jury responding to her testimony? And this is before we even get into the cross.
Okay,
So
East Coast.
Put the cross to the side for a second.
That's on Central.
How was the jury responding to what she was explaining to them? Were they attentive?
Hey, Murray.
Were they taking notes? Did they seem
All right, we got
like,
Central,
I know it's impossible. But
Midwest.
It seemed like they were,
I know we got
agreeing with what
we
she
got some
said.
Cali folks in here, so we hitting all the time zones in America tonight, man. Beautiful things.
Testimony, when she was first under direct, her testimony wasn't very long, honestly. I didn't think it lasted that long. So from what I could see of these jurors, they were writing down their notes. There's this one juror who sits in the front row.
Oh yeah,
that
Big
I'm always
Memphis in
kind
the
of
house,
focused on
DD,
because he
right?
seems so focused
Shelby
on his
County in
he's
this
always
bit.
jotting down notes. He's always looking at the exhibits, and so I'm always kind of wondering what's going on in his mind. And then from just speaking with other people who work in the press and stuff like that, they say they're always focused on row 2 because row 2 is a little bit more animated, but from where I was sitting, unfortunately, I didn't have the best view of them. But from what I could see of just some of the ones on the end, I definitely saw a lot of attention, especially to Dr. Hughes when she was testifying. And there are times where, they do the kind of back and forth between the prosecutor and then the witness. But for the most part, from what I could see, I should say, I definitely saw these jurors just focused on kind of everything at hand. Now, once it got to the cross-examination, they might have been lost a little bit because that just went on and on and on.
Well, let's talk about the cross-examination. So 2 things about the cross-examination. The person who was conducting the cross-examination is somebody we haven't seen in this courtroom before. And 2, what was the theme of the cross-examination? What were the points they were trying to hit?
Yeah, well, to go to your first point, Jesse, this was the first time the jury was essentially seeing Jonathan Bach in action. Now, fun fact about Jonathan Bach is that he's actually married to another defense attorney that we know very well here in this trial, and that's Alexandra Shapiro of Shapiro and Bach, or Bach and Shapiro. And so they work together. They are together as a married couple, and now they work on this case together. So I think that's kind of an interesting fun fact. But as far as the cross-examination goes, Jonathan Bach, for the most part, was very meticulous as far as just asking the questions. He really kind of took it piece by piece. I was kind of wondering
Terry, Big Florida in the house. We got Jacksonville in the house tonight.
Why is he showing up
Where you
on
at in Florida, Terry? You don't have to give me the city, just give me the region.
When it came to this cross-examination, and you know, there were points where it really just felt like it was just going on.
I love
and on,
Nashville.
Wondering where was this going, because it felt like the cross.
Hawaii in the house. Okay, my sister's in Hawaii right now.
So,
that's what's up.
Trying to hit home
New Orleans in the building, Brian. I appreciate you tapping in. Sonny, yo, you still here, man? I appreciate you, Sonny.
Talking about Cassie Ventura, or even the other witnesses in
South Florida. Okay, I'm from Palm Beach.
In general. Just about the
good 5, 6 ace in your face, man. I love South Florida. South Florida is. Hold on, let me turn her old girl down because I ain't talking about too much. South Florida is the only place where the second you leave Port St. Lucie, you hit Palm Beach County. That I-95 open up from 3 lanes to 6 all the way till you get to damn 95 South Point of Key West. Boy, hey, you better be prepared to go from a beginner's learner's permit to NASCAR the second you get to South Florida, boy, because you got to step up your driving game. We do not bullshit on 95 or the turnpike. Let's get it. Hey, go. You better tell them in the chat. We don't play on the turnpike at 95, baby. Terry, let them know.
Whether or not she used data for forensic investigations, whether or
Pompano,
not
okay, Pompano in the city. Listen, hey, hold on.
Let me tell you something.
Terry's a real one. Terry Thomas in the chat. If you from Pompano and you up at 1:40 in the morning and from Pompano, listen.
Broward 954.
Listen, that ain't the city you want to mess around in. We're talking about Boyd Anderson High School down there, ain't it? What else down there? St. Thomas Aquinas down there. That could be Fort Lauderdale proper. But listen, you don't go to Pompano. Hey, Terry, you better learn. We don't fool around South Florida, boy.
BA. Shout out to BA.
Hey, yeah, but Boyd Anderson around there, BA.
Shout out to St. Thomas Aquinas.
You see it?
You feel me?
Listen, Terry, appreciate you tapping in, man. Appreciate you, ma'am.
You see you in the house.
Yup.
Reports or medical backgrounds or educational backgrounds or
Columbus, Ohio in the building.
And records. Even though she's
who has slapped an alligator though?
Yeah,
I be trying to be serious. I be trying to be serious, but then the chat go crazy. JT say, I hope not. Who has slapped an alligator though? I've touched an alligator. I ain't slapped one. See, y'all think the alligators are just popping up. You know what? It's iguanas. Terry, have you killed one of these iguanas yet? Because you know they be eating through the AC and the concrete. Oh, Dillard High. Dillard, okay. Dillard with the good band. And I know FEEZY, we have a Dillard story, but we ain't sharing it on this stream tonight. But Dillard, amazing high school. I have some great friends from Dillard, man. I see you. I see you. Let's get back to this.
Bring this, really just nodding his head, kind of like he's just like watching this all in action and just.
Here, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel,
man. So then in the middle of
Panthers, okay, you know it.
Lunch break. Then when we return from lunch, they continue on with the cross-examination.
Purple, I understand you.
Jonathan Bach is asking.
Don't believe the narrative is safe for black people in Florida, man. Trayvon Martin was very unfortunate.
And Dr. Hughes
kind of happens. Make sure y'all sip up your wine tonight. Terry, you sipping wine tonight, Terry? What you sipping tonight, Terry? I'm on this red Merlot. It's a little chill, but it's okay though.
And she was asked, you would agree that the American Psychological Association says that says to avoid rendering opinion about victims. And Dr. Hughes responded yes. But I thought it was interesting because, you know, when Dr. Hughes was testifying under direct examination, again, he wasn't saying Cassie's by name. But you can tell that this is where the defense was kind of going, where it's like,
black
you didn't evaluate Cassie. How can you talk about just some of the issues that she had gone through if you didn't speak to her directly, or again, you didn't speak to any of the other witnesses in this case? During this time, Diddy is kind of nodding his head a little bit, again, kind of from what I could feel, just giving approval of just how Jonathan Bach was conducting this cross-examination. Hughes says that she didn't read any type of articles or news reports, police reports in relation to this case. She doesn't know about Cassie's drug use or anything of that sort, that she was just there to give subject matter testimony. And then that's when they kind of get a little spicy as far as the cross-examination goes, because the defense was like, well, you didn't talk about who got a civil plaintiff's lawyer, and the defense was essentially saying that some of these people who kind of talk about this abuse, that they just essentially want money. And Dr. Hughes explained, well, they want to right the wrongs. I think that's something that Cassie herself has kind of been wanting to do.
Hey, J-Dub, I appreciate you. Hold on, it's been about 20 minutes. I appreciate you, everybody who's been here throughout the stream. It is J-Dub. It's a political commentary channel. I'm a professional lobbyist by trade. I fell in politics, never wanted to work into it. And I made this channel back in October.
Shout out to y'all.
Just to talk about the campaigns and the elections and the narratives, right? But over the past 2 to 3 weeks, I've been live streaming political content, streaming my political commentary, and we've been able to have crowds like this. We're over 160 people who are here with us now talking. We've had over 61,000 people tonight stopping our stream over the last 2 hours. So I want to thank everybody who's stopped in the stream, who's chatted with us, who's kept the chat going. It's Didi. I would say it's a left channel, but they're cool. I appreciate that. I am a Democrat. I've elected Democrats to Congress, to state legislatures, to county commissions, whatever. I work with Democrats, but I'm also in Florida, the third largest state. And y'all probably heard of our governor. They have a guy named Ron DeSantis, right? America's governor, I think they call him, right? And I work here. I've been working in Florida's political process for 15 years. And guess what? Florida has never been a Democratic state the entire time I've worked in this process. So guess what? I'm a Democrat who has to work with Republicans, who loves to work with Republicans. I am bipartisan by nature, because I realize that when you get Republicans and Democrats together and they can agree on an issue, it's best for the people. So we get outside the narratives, right? So that's really what it is. So I created this channel to help not only have political commentary, but talk about issues and also some current events. And Diddy is one of the current events, because earlier, I think we watched the South African president and President Trump address the narrative around the white farmers or the African immigrants that they're flying over. So a lot of that is there, right? But to the most part, educating people about policy, politics, and having something that's not too far either way to get there. But I'll tell you this. We said it earlier, April 6th, and I'm working on my YouTube video, how I monetize my channel in like 2 weeks with vertical live streams. But we had 300 subs. My goal for this month was really to get to 450, 500, right? Because 30, 40 here, post some content, whatever. All of a sudden, we've taken off over 1,500 subs. In a matter of, I've picked up 1,000 subscribers in like 3 weeks. Amazing, right? Really through vertical streams. So at least the authentic conversation, people have came in all over the world, people from South America, Finland, Houston, Dallas, New York, Cali, all over. Then I invited my dog FEEZY the Great on. And FEEZY's in Atlanta. Me and FEEZY been rocking tough since 10th grade, right? So we've seen each other go through this process. He's not a lobbyist, but it is what it is, right? And I'm not getting to the work here. You know, I can do a lot of self-promoting, but I'm not doing that right now. But to the main point, it's really about creating a community of people who can talk about the issues and not get divisive. But at least for now, live streaming with y'all, connecting with the people and saying, you know what, hey, I'm not trying to change your opinion on who to vote for and what to do. What I want to do is help educate you to get out the narrative. So we're not sitting here hating people over their politics. Let's at least get to a point of saying, is this the best thing for American people? Is this what I love and agree with in this country, right? And that's just a little bit of the channel. So we're developing and we're growing, and I appreciate y'all for tapping in with your boy. But I don't know what Sandra's talking about, because Sandra been in here trolling, and I haven't been the type to ban anybody from my chat, and I'm not going to. But Sandra talking about defamation. She don't even know what defamation is. They've been talking about libel, and luckily I had people like Johnny Five, and my girl was in here, Layla, earlier with nonsense, telling her, hey, you know, chill. You don't even know what you're talking about. But I appreciate y'all tapping in. So real quick, JT, Telly, appreciate y'all, Didi, tapping in. But more than anything, let me yield to my homie FEEZY. Great, have him introduce himself. Mr. FAMU 40, Forbes FEEZY. Take over, and then we're going to get back into this. And also, I'm going to let y'all know, my bad, FEEZY, the U.S. House is on the floor debating the tax bill. We're going to hop in. I pause it to check out my girl, Amelia Sykes, the representative, represents Akron, Ohio. We did the CBC boot camp together. Going to check her out after this, but we're going to get through the Diddy trial. I'm going to have FEEZY introduce himself, and we're going to keep it going. But I appreciate y'all. But we'll probably be streaming for the next 30 minutes because we got working. I got a kid to take to daycare in the morning, but I'm going to yield to FEEZY. Go ahead, my boy. You got it, Fezz.
Phil, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you fine. You hear me?
You can't hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You can't hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. My bad. Hey, again, thank you all for coming out, man. Thank you all for being up this time of night. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, whether no matter what part of the country you're in, no matter what part of the world you're in. Thank you for being here with us. Again, my name is FEEZY the Great, FEEZYDAGR8 on Instagram.
Appreciate you, Dirty.
As Phil's saying, we go all the way back to high school, man, but coincidentally, our paths started aligning in college. We started working in the political process. We started working on campaigns. We started working for governments. Like I said, specifically, I worked for several capital city governments.
Okay, Kentucky in the house.
Worked for the Florida Democratic Party, the Leon County Democratic Party. As Phil said, I've won awards. I've written books. I'm an author. I have a couple things going on, man, you know. But again, we're on this call, and I mean, we're on this stream tonight, man, to speak about, you know, politics, and not just politics, man, entertainment, just speak about a couple other things. Like you said, we have some things that we got cooking that's going on, so stay tuned. We're going to make sure that you're plugged in. We're going to make sure that you are always a part of our growth and always a part of our process. Again, that's all I got, Phil. I slide it back to you. Again, thank y'all very much for your time. Thank you very much for everything, Phil.
Hey, let's make it happen. And again, I told FEEZY Great that these vertical streams are really get the numbers up. We get a nice little community. But I also see my girl, Josette. I hope I pronounced that right. Kentucky, JT's in Kentucky. My wife actually taught at Murray State University in Murray, Kentucky for a year. And I was up there for a little while. And we used to love going to Paducah, the little river up in Paducah. So Kentucky, good living. I'll tell you this great story about Kentucky. We're at Murray State University. Murray's in the middle of nowhere, right? And the NWA movie had just came out. What was it called? It wasn't. What was the name of the movie? NWA movie. Regardless, we watched the NWA movie, and the thing about it was, we're in Kentucky. We got 2 tickets, popcorn, nachos, right? And I'm fat. I'm out of shape, so of course I'm gonna remember the food too, right?
Straight out of Compton,
right?
Straight out of Compton,
and a drink, $20, and this was 2015. 10 years ago. I'm from Palm Beach, like we said earlier, Terry, you know, South Florida. Not only are we real with the speed, but we real with the cost of living, right? That I haven't paid $20 for a movie since middle school. So imagine, straight out of Compton, went to go see it. Me and my wife, dating at the time, $20 date. At that point, I realized in Kentucky, in the rural parts of America, they don't deal with the same issues we deal with in urban rural areas. The cost of living is cheaper. So that perspective, I really learned, like, you know what? We have to, when we create policies, we can't just think about people in Florida. We got to think about national, because the issues that we deal with.
Brunch. They ain't got to pay for parking.
Yeah.
They ain't got to pay for $20 mimosas. They ain't got to pay for $50 hookahs.
Exactly. But you're not doing that in rural America. Like, you go to Atlanta, just going out is going to be $150, right? Just to go to brunch. But you go to a place like Murray, Kentucky, no, that's not happening, right? So either way, yeah, stop going out here because of high prices. You feel me, Terry? You feel me? But anyway, let's get back to the Diddy stuff. I appreciate y'all again tapping in. We got 137 people here with us.
Brunch is easy as smooth $150 if you got a girlfriend.
Come on. In Atlanta, your girlfriend could be a boyfriend, but that ain't this stream. Okay, never mind. Let's get back to it.
Kind of continued asking just about victims going to civil lawyers and recalling details that they never recalled before. Then there was a whole little sidebar, not sidebar presented by Jesse Weber, but
I got this car recently.
Bruh, that's what it
how much I
is.
was paying for insurance.
I keep pausing too long. By the time I start the video, the ads be running again.
both parties, both parties go off to the side. But let me tell you guys something. When we have sidebars in court, it's this really loud, static noise that we're hearing that's just like, and it goes on and on and on, essentially until both parties and the judge are back in their respective spots. So it's not a situation like you may see in Law and Order where they all go up to the judge.
Bro, did you just say that?
What are you talking about?
That. It's really like a hug.
What happened? What did I just say? I said something crazy? Did I say something crazy, Chad, or did she say something? What did I miss? Chad, what happened? Run it back, bro. I told it what just happened, Chad.
Atlanta, but you said this ain't extreme.
Man.
You're a wild boy,
both
man.
parties, the judge, the court reporter, off to the side while this loud noise kind of goes on. So then they actually ended up dismissing the jury because they had to have some quick arguments about something that the defense wanted to introduce, and that was just kind of this presentation that Dr. Hughes did back in 2015, where she was conducting kind of a webinar essentially about it was involving women who have been battered
I totally
for an
missed it.
organization. Again, this being 10 years ago in 2015. So I thought it was interesting that the
That's
defense
New Atlanta.
pulled
the New Atlanta
presentation that she did from 10 years ago, where essentially Dr. Hughes was talking about giving expert witness testimony in cases that involved domestic violence. There were all these different parts about appearing in court or conduct or
this is kind of boring.
Navigating direct and cross.
I was expecting some drama.
Initially, the government had an objection to this because they didn't want this document shown in front of the jury. They didn't want it shown in front of the jury because they said that this could get a little confusing for them. And so what they ended up doing was not showing it in front of the jury, just showing it to the respective parties as well as the witness person.
What Kid Cudi? They ain't post Kid Cudi testimony yet? That's what you need to be posting.
I think that was yesterday or today. I gotta find that.
That's what we need to talk about. We need to hear about this car get blown up.
Let me try to find that. Okay. Oh, chat. Here's what we're about to do, chat. I'm about to find that, right? But what we're gonna do while I try to find that is we're gonna go to the House floor, because the House floor, they are debating.
Because the Republicans
Nancy Pelosi's on.
Millions of American families, seniors and veterans.
Let's go. Y'all hate Pelosi. Let's hear it. Hey.
People with disabilities will lose their health care. Rural hospitals will be closed. Millions of jobs will be destroyed across America. And all of this to give another massive tax cut to the richest people in America. It is a Republican Robin Hood in reverse, one of the largest transfers of wealth from working families to the rich in our country. I urge a no vote on the rule and on the bill.
Gentlelady yields.
And that was Pelosi live. I want to go back to my homegirl Amelia Sachs from Ohio, Akron, Ohio, because as I said earlier, you vote one time, and guess what happens? These people have to basically sign up.
1 minute.
These people sign up to represent you all the time. So here's where we are. Currently, they are debating or plan on voting on Trump's tax plan, the big, beautiful bill. And after it passes the House, it has to go to the Senate. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the bicameral process of government, how government actually operates and works, let me switch this over since FEEZY fell off for a second. There we go. Oh, Terry, no, I'm not. I'm gonna just show Amelia, because Amelia's my homegirl. I didn't mean to show Pelosi. Terry, so I got you. Calm down, my love. Right? But I have a friend of mine who I served in the Congressional Black Caucus boot camp with. She is a Democrat out of Ohio. But Ohio is red, so for what it is. But I just want to hear her piece on it. But there is a point of, I say, respectfully, not even to get into the weeds of the politics, of understanding exactly what the benefits are of what the benefits are in the tax package, whether you're looking for opportunity zones, affordable housing. My grandfather's 96. He's in Palm Beach, right? So at least Medicare. and things of that nature to see, okay, would he potentially be impacted? God willing, he continues to live, right? How would he be impacted? And how would my mother and the caregivers be able to protect it? And that to me is the biggest thing. I think a lot of times we get so caught up in the narrative. Like, Terry, we're in Florida together, right? You may have heard Governor DeSantis talking about, people need property tax relief. Property tax is way too high. I agree with you, right? The issue is this. The governor's office hasn't come up with a plan to solve the property tax issue, right? However, the Florida House has started looking into it to say, you know what? Some cities in the state of Florida, 98% of their city base, like revenue, is based on property taxes. Some cities, it could be 3%, or counties, right? Or 25%. Excuse me. So it gets to a point of saying, all right, cool. You have to have all these different kind of thoughts in policy. But it's a main point to what I'm saying here is the House has to pass their tax package, which will be in it, understand what's in it, but the Senate also has to go vote on it. So really over the next 2 months, this tax package will probably be the biggest thing discussed by the president and anybody who's against it, any Republican at least, and Democrats. It'll be a big fight. So Terry, don't leave me because I put Pelosi on. We homies. We from South Florida together. You can't leave me. But I do think I did get a text from FEEZY. Let me double check my text. 2 a.m. Yeah, I'm up. I think FEEZY's done for the night. Let me check the studio to see if he's still in the waiting room, because I could. Yeah. There you go. Hold on. FEEZY back, y'all.
You can't leave us.
No, FEEZY back, y'all. Hold on.
We Palm Beach, man. We got to stay together.
Yeah, Terry.
I ain't done tonight. I'm back.
Oh,
guess
there we
who's
go.
been Zach?
Oh, okay. So let's go to my girl. Let's go to my girl, Amelia Sykes. See what she has to say. Now, again, this is why people want you to vote. If you didn't vote, and here's the thing, I'll be real. To my Republican friends that are on the stream, we don't have to tell y'all to vote. You understand the importance of voting. I'm not talking to y'all. I love y'all because you vote. I'm talking about the independents and my people of color. These people, the black folks, or the KNWE grows, right? When we don't vote, we're basically telling people that, you know what?
By the way.
Yeah. We telling people, hey, do what you want with our policies and whatever.
Y'all real. Shout out to y'all.
Right. But when you do vote, this is what you're voting for. So you can be asleep at 2 a.m., but you know that your elected officials are, whether you're Democrat, voting against the Trump plan, or Republican, voting for the Trump plan. But you're basically voting to say, you know what? I think you represent my ideals. That's who I'm going to support. And then they're the ones up at 2, 3 in the morning working with you, working for you. But let's get into my girl Amelia, the representative from Akron.
To the gentlewoman from Ohio, Ms. Sykes.
Ladies recognize.
And Phil, this is live currently, correct?
Yeah, they're currently on the floor now. And my girl Amelia Sykes, I respectfully, she bad.
She's fine too.
She bad. She married. She bad. But her mother and father were in politics in Ohio as well. My girl went to University of Florida. I want to say University of Florida Law School. But she's amazing. But let's hear what she has to say.
Mr. Speaker, every time I hear the name and the title of H.R. 1, I am stunned with how childish and immature it is to name a bill the way that the majority has. But truly, it is the cruelty that is the worst part of this bill. When I was first elected, I told the people of Ohio's 13th congressional district, it may be my name on the ballot, but we are all going to Congress together. And I made that promise because as a representative, it is my responsibility to make sure that my constituents' needs are being addressed here in Washington. The people in Ohio's 13th congressional district need lower costs. They need access to care, and they do not need this horrible.
Yeah, she is, Didi.
I have said many times before, the access to maternal health, to infant mortality reduction, to making sure that people have access to substance and mental health services is what is so important. And there was no Republican mandate to kick our grandmothers out of nursing homes. But the most important part about this is that when
I feel you, Terry.
30,000 jobs are on the line in Ohio's 13th congressional district. Mr. Speaker, what are you going to say to my constituents? Will you call them lazy, worthless, unworthy of food, shelter, and human dignity? I already know the answer, because the answer is yes, because I've heard you talk about constituents like mine and all over this country with disdain,
15 seconds.
as though they are not important.
General
and
Lady's
they are
recognized
totally
for additional
unworthy
30
of this
seconds.
horrible, horrific, mean, cruel, nasty bill.
Gentle Lady yields back. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
My girl Amelia Sykes, I didn't know the debate would be so limited. But my girl Amelia Sykes got her stuff off. Congratulations to my girl. We're going to skip over Pelosi. If there's anybody else worth, is it Randy Fine? I know that. Is this Florida's governor? See, this is for my people. This is for my Republicans here. I'm going to go to Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Then I'm going to go to Randy Fine. Randy Fine is one of the newest Jewish Republican members in the U.S. House.
Bro,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
How late do they be like in the chambers, bro? Like, I know they be in there forever, dog. Like, do they ever like wake up, or is it like a mandatory time where they got to stop, or they can wake up when the sun come up?
Well, from what I know, when I worked with former member Lawson, for those of y'all, I'm gonna just say his name, Al Lawson, the former congressman I used to work with. I didn't work on the Hill. I was his campaign person, senior advisor. From what he told me, some people sleep in the building for situations like this because they get a notice, okay, the bill's on. So early tonight, they were in committee from 1 a.m. yesterday, Wednesday morning, because Thursday now, until 10:46 tonight. I know some of the stream we saw when the meeting adjourned. That's when we started the stream. So now that they've passed the bill through rules, now the bill's technically on the floor. They're debating the bill on the floor. So that's part of the process. This is a bicameral process. Again, the House has their process where they got to pass stuff through. The Senate will get it after, right? And because it's how most governments end up working, state and, not all states, but state and Congress, it ends up being the procedural thing. So I think FEEZY hopped off for a second. Let's get this together. Let's play Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and we're going to get into Randy Fine. And then I may wrap up the stream. FEEZY ain't going nowhere. He's still here. He's still here, yo. Let's get into Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Randy Fine. I'm going to have them run back to back, and then we'll open it up from there, y'all.
This one big ugly bill. Instead of cutting costs, it imposes the biggest healthcare cut ever, forcing 14 million people to lose coverage.
Man, hey, man, for the long haul. We can run this for another hour.
Hey, Didi cooking her talking about something. No, hold on, you missing Didi.
Oh, you know what it is.
Didi cooking her talking about something. She look like Willy Wonka mama. Chat crazy.
Energy hurts farmers, expands abortion bans, and explodes the debt so badly it will trigger $500 billion in cuts to Medicare. And its 1,000+ pages all boil down to this: $1.1 trillion is swiped from SNAP and Medicaid and stuff.
Say it again. What did you say, bro? I got you.
Right into the pockets of the richest 1%. It gives it no longer, thankfully, gives tax breaks to tanning beds, although you tried that in the dead of night.
Hold on. I can't hear you. Got competing audio, bro. Say it again. Go ahead, bro. I hear you now. All right.
I was saying she do look like Willy Wonka mama.
Yeah, I told Didi wild.
Millions of families and raises deductibles and co-pays.
Do I like Debbie Wasserman Schultz?
This is worse than
Let me
the
just.
haves versus the have-nots.
Damn it. I think she's part of the problem. But then at the same time, Terry, I understand the dynamics because I ran campaigns. I understand that she's in a heavy Jewish district, right? To where Boca Raton, the Lighthouse, other places, that she has a strong contingent of people that are there, and it's also a Democratic stronghold. The other part of it is, to be honest, because it ends up being the narrative of fear factors instead of hope. And at the same time, some people just don't want to hear all that nonsense. And I think her time has kind of ran up. This is why you may need some congressional term limits, but then the way they raise money is really the reason why you don't have congressional term limits, right? So I think her time has kind of ran up, but if it's not her, I think you got to have a Lori Berman or a Tina Polsky or someone else to replace her, because there has to be, not has to, but how they'll draw it, there will be a Jewish access seat, minority access seat, if you want to call it that, that'll be available for the Jewish contingent that is South Florida to elect a member that represents them or looks like them. So that'll always be a thing. But I think it's time for Debbie Wasserman-Schultz to hang it up. She's been in politics since the 90s. Baby, go enjoy time with your family for real.
It's just one big giveaway to the have-yachts.
I appreciate Terry, though.
Just like Trump did to all his businesses, this bill will drive our constituents and our country into bankruptcy. Any Republican with a spine, which you clearly lack, and a conscience, which you also lack, should join me in voting hell no. I yield back the balance of my time.
Members are reminded to direct their remarks to the chair.
Purple 33, man. That's wild. I haven't heard that yet.
Recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Fine.
Real quick, I'm going to pause for Randy Fine for my Florida people. Randy Fine just got elected, formerly known as a Hebrew Hammer in the Florida House. Got to the Senate last year and won a special election in March or April and got elected. This guy over here is Mike Herodopoulos, former Senate president in Florida, who's also a freshman in Congress, and it's just kind of crazy. These powerful guys are moving up and really at the lower level or the lower level of popularity in Congress because nobody really knows who they are. They went from top dogs in Florida to damn near bottom of the barrel in DC. It happens though.
Gentleman from Florida is recognized for 1 minute.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I am a new person in this chamber. And one of the things I've observed over the last 6 weeks is a fundamental question of who is it that we should be most worried about? See, Rome is burning, and it doesn't seem as though people realize that. It is not thoughtful, it is not generous, it is not compassionate to borrow money from our children and our grandchildren to give it to people who should not be in our country anyway. It is not compassionate to borrow money from them to give it to people for health care if they could work and they could provide it themselves. But what is compassionate is to tell someone who is a waitress working hard to support her family that she doesn't have to pay taxes on her tips. It is compassionate to someone like my father who is blind to know he might not have to pay taxes on his Social Security. There is compassion in this bill. There is compassion for the American people, and I hope that everyone...
I'm going to stop it there. And for those of y'all, my Republican friends in the chat who'll be like, "Oh, you know, they're Democrats." Like Didi, I know you can get with this, right? This is why Democrats lose. You see how simple that narrative is? No tax on tips. No tax on tips makes a lot more sense than living wage. To me, FEEZY, what do you think, or am I tripping?
The Hebrew Hammer is crazy.
He's like, what?
Let's start there. I think that is wild. I've been thinking about it ever since you said it. Yeah, the Hebrew Hammer, Florida politics, you gotta love it.
Yeah.
But overall, to your point, and I think we spoke about this a while back, you know, the party that used to be called the Republican Party is not the same Republican Party.
Facts, big fact.
The Republican Party that we used to fear about, oh, they're just this powerful party that does this and does that. And mind you, there's nothing wrong with the Republican Party. Do your thing. Everything is great. It's just that both parties have adjusted. Both parties have shifted, right? So now in my personal opinion, like you said, when you break it down as small as there's no taxes on tips, or there's no taxes on the most basic things that people need to survive, that makes so much sense to anybody. That's common sense legislation. But unfortunately, everybody don't care for common sense legislation. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you sit here and you campaign towards me that you're going to make my everyday life easier, knowing that I got to worry about increasing mortgage rates, I got to worry about increasing taxes, increasing escrows, I got to worry about increasing car insurance rates, I got to worry about increasing grocery prices, I got to worry about everything going on. Yes, I need to know that the most basic thing that I have that I gain money on, that you're not taxing it. Like, yes, I would love that. I need that. I think that's great.
See, and I think that's the part where when we want to be real, and I think, again, for my Republican friends, my Democratic friends, people who just don't care about either party, that's what I think of. It's like, how do you make it make sense to the average person? And sometimes we use such highfalutin ass words and this thesaurus of lexicons and words that we love to use when we get a college education, that we forget that 50 to 60% of Americans read on the 4th to 6th grade level. So when you tell someone who's maybe, I'm not to say that level, if you read on the 5th grade level, but you're in 10th grade, 11th grade, and you're working, you know what tax on tips means, right? A livable wage, it does not make sense to you. And that's why I tell folks with the AOC and the Bernies, it's like, y'all not telling nobody nothing for real. Y'all just BSing. Because if you're saying a livable wage is working for $15 an hour, for 40 hours a week, for 52 weeks a year, that means it's $40,000 that you're making. $40,000, this chat has told me in previous streams that that's not enough money to survive. So if that's the case, if you can't live off $40,000, and listen, Terry, can you live off $40,000 in Pompano? I don't think so, boo. Right? But it's a fact of saying, bruh, you have to talk to where people make sense of what it is, right? And when you don't make sense of what's happening, it's a problem. Now, Terry did say something earlier, that they needed term limits in Congress. Now, here's the reason. It won't happen. It's a money play. Basically, you get elected Republican or Democrat, you're elected to raise money at that point for the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. So they're raising money all the time. Great. The term limits won't come in because even in Florida, what we've seen is continuity. I think that's what they call it in sports, right? Right, FEEZY? Sports, when you practice over and over and you build a continuity with your players and your teammates and shit like that. There's none of that, because what you happen is a brain drain. If you have a term limits and the members leave, the staff is the only one who stays. The staff becomes the most knowledgeable in this whole process. And that ends up diminishing the fact of elected leaders actually being effective because they are still learning on the job. If you have an 8-year term limit, I know the president has 4, but let's say 8 years, that's the max you can serve. It really takes you 6 years to learn the process. And by the time a lot of these members end up learning the process, hey, Angela, by the time you end up learning the process, you're on the way out. And term limits sometimes hurt. So even in Florida, I would say term limits have hurt, not just for Democrats, but they've hurt for a continuity in the process, because there shouldn't be a point where someone gets elected and they don't understand how the funding mechanisms for schools, prisons, water projects and things like that work. You're just hurting the state at that point. So I do feel that it's good, but it's bad at the same time. But I'll tell y'all this. It's about 225 or 222, right? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'll make FEEZY video bigger. I'll make my video bigger. Right? Let's eliminate it. So it's just 2 on 2. There we go. Pause. Right? And this will be the final call for the night, because it's 2:30 in the morning. We've had over, let's check it out, 63,000 people. This is the biggest, longest stream pause I've ever had, right? The normal stream's been about an hour, 2 hours. We normally get maybe 20 to 40,000 people, 50,000 on a good day. 60,000, that's the biggest stream I've ever had. And I understand some people say, some people go. But like my man, Johnny 5, been here the whole 3 hours. I appreciate you tapping in with me, Johnny 5, man. Love. Terry,
Take your time,
appreciate you, man.
Congratulations.
J-Dub, appreciate you, man. I appreciate Angela, everyone. I seen my girl, Aloha Kitty, Dee. Listen, Dee. Even though we Democrats, I know you feel the love, so make sure you subscribe and tell your homies to subscribe. Say, you know what? I found some black Democrats that's cool. Arlo, appreciate you, man. First time. But, hey, appreciate you tapping in, man. Listen. I'm going to tell you this. Again, I started at 300 April 6th. I'll even be realer with y'all. I had a client who canceled a contract on April 2nd. And I told myself, like, bro, y'all wasting my time. I worked for y'all for 3 months. I could have been building up my and this is where we are. So we're building out this channel. We're live streaming, having organic conversations, and hopefully connecting with people. And I know we are because y'all liking and subscribing. But last I checked, we were at 1,500 subscribers when I started this stream. I want to see where we're ending at tonight, right? So I'm not asking y'all to follow and subscribe. If you have already, I appreciate you. But let's see where we are. 1668. That means we picked up 100, close to 168 subscribers tonight on tonight's stream, the past 3 hours. I appreciate y'all clapping. Believing in. Hey, Terry, I appreciate you too. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Terry. I look forward to having future conversations with you. Hey, you my Florida girl. We South Florida, true and true. You know, we rocked in together. You feel me? But I appreciate y'all. Everyone who's came in, who subscribed, I appreciate it. What I'm gonna do is yield to my man FEEZY the Great, have him do the sign off, and more than anything, make sure you like and subscribe. Have a good night, J-Dub. I'm gonna still be reading through the chat. I'm gonna try to edit some of this up and get, you know, at least some good scripts or shorts to y'all. Try not to bombard y'all with content, but make sure it happens. FEEZY, go ahead, let's sign it out, man. We Floridian, we sit together. You know it, Terry. But make sure it happens.
Man, shout out to you, Phil, again, man. Thank you for everything. Man, thank everyone for, you know, doing your thing. Thank you for everyone for popping out. Thank you for, again, taking your time out of your busy schedule to come here with us tonight, to hear us talk about some good things, hear us talk about some other things, you know. But either way, we're just happy that you're here. I did want to bring up one last point that you were mentioning before we signed off, but I'll just hold off on it until next time. But again, catch me on Instagram, FEEZY the Great, FEEZYDAGR8. Follow me. Like I said, man, we got a couple things cooking for you. You know, we want to make sure that you are locked in for what we have in store. So with that being said, Phil, again, shout out to the community, you know, shout out to the late vibes, you know, shout out to the we're gonna give y'all a name. By the next time we stream live and do Midnight Vibes, we're gonna give y'all a name, man. You know, we're gonna see what we're gonna, you know, call our tribe, you know, because we do fool with y'all. You know, y'all are consistent, y'all show up, y'all show out. You know, like I say, like, share, subscribe, and everything you gotta do. Phil, it's on you.
All right, appreciate y'all. Really, hey, I know I seen one comment, JDM, this is boring. I get it, yes. Like my man Johnny 5. Johnny 5, salute to you, my boy. We wrapping up here. We've been on for 3 hours. So, you know, it's 2:30 in the morning. We doing what we have to do. End of the day, y'all have a great day tomorrow, man. Let's have a great Thursday. We may be back on the stream. And what I'm going to try to do, I promise y'all, I need to get my dad's schedule together, my work schedule together, my entrepreneurial and client schedule together, so I can give y'all a consistent schedule on when I'm going to be streaming. And I do love this 9:30 to 2 a.m. Like late night, midnight post. I actually started solo. If y'all were here, my man FEEZY came in. We got him in after the South African president, and we kept it going. So we may do this like this in the future. So hopefully my son's bedtime is around. That's what I'm leaning towards. But either way, until then, until next time, y'all have a great Thursday. Have a good night. See y'all later. All right. Have a good. I'm out. I will try to, if you subscribe, I believe I'll try to get a notification out, Terry. But I'm gonna post it. I'll make sure I do a post on the page, and whatever time I do it, I'll make sure. Although also, yes, we're not Republican, Democrat, Independent, we're all American. I agree with that. Y'all have a good night though. I'm out. Thanks, Terry.